Chapter 69. Xian Wuyu's murderous intent shrouded the entire reception area, attracting a large number of guards to stand on either side of Yi Qing Han and the Qin Emperor. The Qin Emperor, in particular, was surrounded by the guards on the inside and the outside. Xian Wuyu, you came to my Spirit Treasures Pavilion's guest area to cause trouble. Aren't you afraid of your teacher's wrath? The guard leader pointed his sword at Xian Wuyu and shouted. Get lost. Today is a matter between me and Yi Qing Han. Does Spirit Treasures Pavilion want to interfere? Xian Wuyu did not give any face. His eyes shot out a ferocious gaze as his body soared into the sky. In front of all the experts, he pointed at Yi Qing Han and said, Yi Qing Han, if you are a man, then don't hide. Come with me outside the city and fight. Yi Qing Han was considered a celebrity in Flaming Cloud City recently, and Xian Wuyu's name was even more famous in Owl Falling Star. No one expected Xian Wuyu to declare war in front of everyone, and with such an aggressive tone, not giving Yi Qing Han a chance to refuse. Master, kill him. I support you. The parrot hooted. Kakik. Hoo-hoo-hoo. The more Xian Wuyu looked at the parrot, the angrier he got. His iron fists clenched, making cracking sounds. His wings fluttered, creating a raging wind as he glared at Yi Qing Han. I originally wanted to kill you and collect the commission. It seems like you have given me a reason. Xian Wuyu's eyes flashed with a ferocious light as he looked down at the guest area and mocked, Yi Qing Han, in front of everyone in Flaming Cloud City, tell me if you are a man or not. Do you dare to fight with me? At this moment, at least half of the experts in Flaming Cloud City were gathered in the guest area. Even the old fox Qi Ning was hiding in the periphery, looking down at the guest area. He wanted to see Yi Qing Han's true strength. I'd like to see if you're really that strong. I'd like to see if you're strong enough to crush Xian Wuyu, who has Tier 5 true spirit Daoist wings. If you can defeat Xian Wuyu, you might be able to defeat a Tao Insight expert. If you can't even defeat Xian Wuyu, hee. I'd like to see how many secret skills you have in your head. Qin Ying's eyes flashed. A businessman would never have friends, only profits. How could he care whether Yi Qing Han was the teacher of the Qin Emperor? Yi Qing Han was silent for a long time. It was already very difficult to deal with Xian Wuyu, and he needed to use all his strength. Furthermore, Xian Wuyu had the support of the true spirit Dao wings and could fly, which was equivalent to the pseudo-grotto heaven realm. And he was only at the 1 star of the bitter sea realm. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. Even if he had the soul of a Dao sovereign, it could not make up for the difference in true yuan. As the saying went, face is worthless, but life is. Yi Qing Han wouldn't fight with leisure for the sake of face, only to let someone else benefit from it. You don't dare. You bitch. Xian Wuyu sneered. You're asking for a beating, aren't you? My master doesn't want to bother with you. The parrot jumped up as if its tail had been stepped on. You lowly bird, I've never seen a bird as lowly as you. Hee, just you wait. In less than a month, I promise I'll roast you and eat you. Xian Wuyu was furious and was about to lose control. I'm lowly. What can you do to me? Idiot. The parrot taunted arrogantly. Xian Wuyu was speechless. It was too difficult for him to quarrel with the parrot. Seeing Xian Wuyu suffer, the crowd discussed. Even a Tao Insight expert would not dare to embarrass Xian Wuyu like this. What's the background of this Yi Qing Han? If Xue Sha did not issue the ultimate kill order, would not have heard of this name. Me too, I've never heard of this name. But he didn't give Xian Wuyu any face. Is he courting death? I heard that Lingbao Pavilion is protecting him. But I'm afraid it won't be enough to suppress Xian Wuyu. After all, this is a matter of the younger generation. Qin clan can't send the older generation to stop Xian Wuyu. With Qin Haoren's strength, I'm afraid he won't be Xian Wuyu's opponent. So I think Yi Qinghan will suffer. Some of the younger generation gathered together and looked at Yi Qinghan. No one was optimistic about him. There were a few unfamiliar faces standing in the distance. They were very young and were staring at Yi Qinghan and Xian Wuyu. They seemed to be waiting for something. Lu Outyan was among them. Yi Qinghan was thinking about the pros and cons of taking action. There were at least a few people staring at him. Some of them were ready to take advantage of the situation. 3 of them were the top 10 young geniuses of Owl Fall Star. Ing Feng, Tang Chu, and Di Kong. Ing Feng was from Shueisha, while Tang Chu and Di Kong had a good relationship with Xian Wuyu. Son, let's go. Yi Qinghan clenched his violent hammer and left Lingbao Pavilion's guest area with the crowd, leaving behind a group of people looking at each other. Yi Qinghan, are you looking down on me? Or are you really a coward? You don't even have the courage to face me head-on. Xian Wuyu blocked Yi Qinghan's path with a flash and coldly questioned. Xian Wuyu, if you really want to die, I'll fulfill your wish in a month. I don't have time to play with you now. Go away. Yi Qinghan frowned and shook his violent hammer. Hee, a month later, right? Fine, I'll wait for you for a month. Let's see what kind of tricks you can play in a month. Xian Wuyu sneered and left. His true spirit wings flapped in the air and stirred up turbulence. The weaker cultivators were directly sent flying. Master, Xian Wuyu is very powerful, and many people outside are targeting you. Qin Shihuang followed Yi Qinghan closely while holding his zither. He felt the hostility of many people and was a bit unhappy. Don't worry, don't let others' attitude affect your state of mind. Look at the road ahead and just walk. Yi Qinghan rubbed Qin Shihuang's head and smiled. The path of cultivation was destined to be lonely. If he was not an enemy, he would be a friend. If he acted impulsively because of someone else's words, he would definitely die before he could walk on the path of cultivation. Yeah, I know. For the sake of one's dreams, one can give up some things, such as face. Their temporary ridicule is just to warn us that we are not strong enough. Qin Shihuang nodded seriously and said. Ha, I'm very satisfied that you can see through this. Endure a moment of humiliation and glory will last forever. Show off for a moment and fall into hell forever. Who is strong and who is weak? The one who laughs in the end will be the winner. Yi Qinghan laughed. Qin Shihuang was indeed a bit more sensible than his peers. If it were any other 13 or 14-year-old kid who encountered today's situation, they would have rushed out long ago and even ridiculed him for being so weak and useless. The master and disciple strolled through the mountains and rivers. The parrot was surprisingly much more obedient. When they arrived at Hua Fei's house, it was still quiet. Ever since Yi Qinghan left, Hua Fei and Wuxia had also joined the Hua clan. Their wish to be the direct descendant was fulfilled. Stay here for the next few days. I'm sure there will be a lot of rascals coming to disturb you. You have to take care of yourself. Yi Qinghan reminded. Yeah, don't worry, master. I can take care of myself. Qin Shihuang was very sensible, which saved Yi Qinghan a lot of trouble. In the evening, the two settled down in the courtyard. The parrot ate the dragon fruit and quietly ran to Qin Shihuang's room. It sat by the window and looked at Qin Shihuang. Hey, little girl, do you want a dragon fruit? The parrot took out a round dragon fruit and tempted Qin Shihuang. Shut up, I'm a boy. Qin Shihuang was furious. He didn't even look at the dragon fruit. He had a noble status. What kind of elixirs didn't he have in his ring? Che, you lied to me. I'm a great divine bird. Can't you tell the difference between a man and a woman? The parrot asked disdainfully. If you continue to talk nonsense, don't blame me for being impolite. Qin Shihuang held the zither in his arms. His 5 jade-like fingers pressed on the strings of the zither. He frowned and scolded. You lied to master. You're clearly a little girl. If you dare to touch this divine bird, I'll expose you. The parrot threatened. Qin Shi Huang and the parrot glared at each other. Qin Shi Huang's pure eyes didn't have any impurities. They were dim and lifeless, which made people pity him. However, the parrot didn't have any pity. It was arrogantly threatening him. However, Yi Qinghan didn't have time to deal with the parrot. He had just broken into the bitter sea stage and was comprehending the new realm. Stepping into the bitter sea stage again, his understanding of cultivation was very different. His temperament was also quietly changing. The vital energy in his body was surging and roaring, like the rolling sea. It was enough for him to use the frenzy blade technique with all his strength and not fall down. For Yi Qinghan, this kind of short burst was not enough. He needed to kill his opponent and deter others at the same time. The little person in his sea of consciousness was constantly practicing the frenzy blade technique, the extreme divine dragon step and the extreme heavenly yuan technique. The consumption of vital energy was the lowest, but the battle strength was maximized. As night fell, Yi Qinghan opened his eyes. His aura became extremely fierce. His vital energy was restrained. Outsiders couldn't see his specific cultivation level, but they could feel the threat. Opening the door, he saw the parrot chattering in front of Qin Shi Huang's window. It had talked for an entire afternoon and didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. However, Qin Shi Huang didn't want to pay attention to it. He directly sealed his ears and cultivated quietly. He was comprehending the zither birthmark on his palm, hoping to be able to control it freely. Yi Qinghan was very satisfied with Qin Shi Huang's state of mind. There weren't many people who could endure the parrot's chatter and still cultivate wholeheartedly. Parrot, do you have nothing better to do? Yi Qinghan looked at the parrot and asked with a frown. I have something to do. Master, I discovered that many treasures suddenly appeared in the southeast of Flaming Cloud City. Hee, are you interested in getting them? The parrot looked at Yi Qinghan and suddenly trembled. It asked in a serious manner. Yi Qinghan was sweating. The auction house was located in the southeast of Flaming Cloud City. The sudden appearance of treasures was definitely an auction item. Who knew how many experts were guarding it? Trying to get those items was the same as seeking death. Don't go near that place. There are at least 3 or 4 Grotto Heaven Realm experts guarding it. If you go, don't think of coming back. Yi Qinghan coldly warned. When the parrot heard this, it immediately withered. Humph, divine bird. Aren't you called divine bird? Why don't you go and steal from the auction house? There are many treasures there. Qin Shi Huang stopped cultivating and finally seized the opportunity to mock. I don't compete with women. The parrot rolled its eyes. It was better to just kill it than to let it take the risk. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently. Qin Shi Huang was indeed too weak like a girl. He wasn't suitable to cultivate the martial way. Qi refinement was more suitable for him. Yi Qinghan passed the extreme Tao Heaven Origin Technique's martial skill memories and insights to Qin Shi Huang. When Qin Shi Huang felt this secret technique in his memories, he couldn't help but be shocked. This level of martial skill was definitely worth more than a small star. Before the Qin Emperor could express his gratitude, a few crisp knocks on the door were heard. Then, a flash of cold light flashed, and a dart flew in with a piece of paper attached to it, piercing into the door beside Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan reached out his hand and took it. When he opened the paper, he frowned. Chapter 70. Be careful of the meeting of heroes. There were only 5 words on the paper, but it was a warning. Yi Qinghan poured out his Zhen Yuan and crushed the paper into dust, scattering it with the wind. Meeting of heroes? My son, do you know what this is? Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. Qin Shi Huang thought for a moment, then raised his head and said, "Teacher, the meeting of heroes is not some organization. It is a gathering of the young generation of elites. Someone will lead them to organize a gathering. Those who can truly participate in the meeting of heroes are all super powerful warriors of a certain region. Looking at the entire star, they are all either rich or noble, invincible existences." This time, the auction house organized such a huge auction and attracted so many powerful warriors. Lu Aotian is the crown prince of ancient Lulan, and also one of the top 10 young experts of Owl Falling Star. I guess he is the one who organized the meeting of heroes. Qin Shi Huang quickly explained. What are the rules of this meeting of heroes? What is the purpose of organizing the meeting of heroes? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. The meeting of heroes is organized for the true top geniuses to exchange their experiences and compete in private. Some people want to use the opportunity to break through their bottlenecks and climb to the peak. Some people want to make friends with the elites of the world and rope in talents. For example, Lu Aotian. This time, he will definitely take the opportunity to rope in a large number of talents for Lulan. Qin Shi Huang explained again, the meeting of heroes is not compulsory, but under normal circumstances, those who are invited will go. After all, if they don't go, it means that they are looking down on the meeting of heroes, looking down on all the heroes of the world, and will be attacked by everyone. Yi Qinghan frowned. The organizer of this meeting of heroes was Lu Aotian, then who was the one who warned him? Just now, someone had appeared quietly. Regardless of speed or stealth, they were all top-notch. Even Yi Qinghan could only sense him before he disappeared. It could be seen that he was at least one of the top 10 of the young generation. At this moment, Yi Qinghan felt that the atmosphere of the entire Flaming Cloud City was extremely stifling. He didn't know if many people were friends or foes, including Lu Aotian, who had previously expressed goodwill. He didn't dare to believe it. As for Xian Wuyu, Ying Feng, and the others, there was no need to even mention them. Go to sleep. Today, someone reminded me of the meeting of heroes. I believe that tomorrow, someone will come to invite me. Tomorrow, I will bring you to see just how strong the heroes of this world are. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice as the corner of his mouth revealed a hint of arrogance. Early morning of the second day, within the official relay station of Flaming Cloud City, Lu Aotian was waving his hand to write invitations. Those that could truly enter his eyes were all invincible kings of a country. The weakest was at the bitter sea stage. Someone come, deliver these invitations to the guests one by one. There is an address on the invitation. There must be no mistakes. Lu Aotian looked at the nearly 100 golden and dazzling elite invitations on the table and said in a serious tone. Yes. Your Highness the Crown Prince. The Fire Qilan Army's senior superintendent personally led the team to retrieve the elite invitation and deliver it to the Crown Prince according to the address. Once the elite invitation came out, it caused a huge uproar. Everyone was guessing just who would be invited. After all, the elite invitation represented glory and was not something that anyone could obtain. Some people, even if they were at the 9th star of the bitter sea stage, may not enter Lu Aotian's eyes. Old Shui, you personally deliver the invitations of ancient Sword King Lingchen, Shaoyun King Wang Shizhi and Zhao Wuji to their hands. I will personally deliver Yi Qinghan's invitation. Lu Aotian waved his hand and 2 soul-stealing golden invitations appeared in his hand. He handed it over to the protector beside him, Shui Gang. Within the courtyard, Yi Qinghan waved his battle blade. Flowers flew and butterflies danced. His chi swept the withered leaves in the courtyard and blocked his line of sight. Swish swish swish, a cold light flashed, incomparably sharp and invincible. It broke through the shackles of the void. True yuan flowed along the edge of the blade, transforming into lightning that struck in all directions. Wang wang, hum, the melody of the guqin transformed into the sounds of nature. The Qin Emperor moved the strings, attracting tens of thousands of birds. The clouds in the sky gathered as if they had a soul. They evolved into a seven-colored divine phoenix. Strange phenomena appeared in the sky, magnificent and magnificent. Yi Qinghan listened to the music, his qi and blood burning. His true yuan was restless. His heart involuntarily wanted to go crazy, to fight. A tyrannical aura burst out, the 7 feet heavy berserk, erupting with a monstrous evil aura that reached the clouds. Boom boom boom, his true yuan and blood burned. New true yuan constantly gushed out from the depths of his qi sea. It was endless, causing Yi Qinghan's eyes to flicker. He took the initiative to temper his body. The light on the surface of his body surged, the aura of jewels emitted. Eastern purple qi gushed out, making the surrounding 100 meters look like a fairyland. Damn, this girl is so fierce. The music can actually make me. The parrot was drowsy. Listening to the music, the feeling was completely different from Yi Qinghan. In the end, he could not even stand properly and directly fell to the ground, asleep. Boom, Yi Qinghan's body almost left the ground. He rushed out of the courtyard and slashed his saber into the lake, rolling up tens of thousands of waves. Splash, hum, the long saber rolled and a water dragon rushed out of the water. It was like a real dragon playing in the water, vivid and lifelike. It let out a long cry, like a dragon's roar piercing through the void. Flipping saber style. God-slaying style. Heavenly dragon style. Yi Qinghan danced faster and faster. The 250 kilograms heavy berserk saber in his hand was as light as a feather. As the rhythm of the music increased, his whole body was drowned by the saber's shadow. Extreme space-breaking style. At the end of the song, the Qin Emperor fiercely plucked the 9 strings of the guqin. The sharp energy turned into a divine weapon and broke the door. A row of wooden pillars were as fragile as tofu and were cut down from the middle. The extreme sky yuan art had been merged with the Qin Emperor's Tao of guqin overnight. Borrowing the melody of the guqin, the energy rushed out of his body. His combat power was more than 10 times stronger than before. Yi Qinghan withdrew his saber. His face was not red and he was not out of breath. Seeing the wooden pillars and walls of the courtyard collapse, not only was he not angry, but he was even happier. The Qin Emperor's comprehension was better than he had imagined. Master, I'm sorry. I destroyed the house. The Qin Emperor stood up with his guqin in his arms. He scratched his head and smiled, I was too engrossed and didn't control it well. Ha ha ha, it's okay. Even if you destroyed the flaming cloud city, I can rebuild it for you. Cultivate well. The power of the extreme sky yuan art is closely related to the control of the soul. You can use the guqin to exert its power to this extent, but it can't be considered a success. You have to cultivate more and try to completely merge it. Yi Qinghan laughed with satisfaction. He looked at the Qin Emperor and was especially happy. The true yuan in his body had no impurities because of the music, and his combat power had more than doubled. Dao friend Qinghan is indeed a dragon among men. I didn't misjudge you. I wonder when I can spar with Dao friend. A dignified voice sounded. Lu Outyan was wearing a light armor. He stepped on the water surface and looked at everyone with disdain. His whole body emitted a faint pressure. Yi Qinghan turned around. The walls in front of him had been pierced through by the guqin music. The outside world was unobstructed. Lu Outyan arrived in front of the courtyard in a blink of an eye. Qinghan is honored that Crown Prince Outyan has graced my humble abode with your presence. Please come in. Yi Qinghan smiled. He did not want to offend Lu Outyan. Having a good relationship with someone in the elite ranking would make the road ahead easier. It seems like we have underestimated the Qin Emperor of the Qin clan. I didn't expect him to be a top-notch genius in cultivating the guqin. Brother Ye's eyes are sharp. Outyen is impressed. Lu Outyen glanced at the Qin Emperor and sighed. Whether he is a dragon or a worm depends on his luck. I wonder why the Crown Prince has come in person. Yi Qinghan asked indifferently. Brother Yi is too polite. If you think highly of me, just call me Outyen. The title of Crown Prince is just an illusion in your eyes. There is no need to mention it. Lu Outyen said proudly. The reason he was able to reach where he was today was not because of the title of Crown Prince. It was because of his talent and hard work. All right. Brother Lu, Qinghan is being too polite. Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and smiled. Ao Tian is here for the meeting of heroes. As the host, I hope that Brother Yi will give me some face. Come to the Lulan Heavenly Pavilion relay station tomorrow morning. I will welcome you with open arms, Yi Futian said. As expected, it is because of the meeting of heroes. Yi Qinghan secretly said this in his heart. He took the invitation card and discovered that the note from last night wasn't written by Lu Outyen. The handwriting was different. All right. I will be there tomorrow morning. Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and said without hesitation. Can I go and take a look? Qin Shi Huang looked at Lu Outyen and asked softly. No problem. As long as Brother Yi brings you there, no one will stop you. I'm just worried that your big brother will make things difficult for you. I hope you won't mind it then. Lu Outyen looked at Qin Shi Huang and said with a serious tone. Thank you, Crown Prince. I don't care about other people's eyes and words. I just want to see the meeting of heroes. Qin Shi Huang said proudly. Qin Shi Huang had a noble status. He was the grandson of the head of the Qin clan and was ranked 5th. However, he had always been looked down on by his brothers. Even the other cousins of the Qin clan looked down on him. It was because he was blind and weak like a woman. However, he had the right to inherit the position of the head of the Qin clan. It made people jealous, especially Qin Haoran, who hated Qin Shi Huang the most. Qin Haoran was the number 1 of the younger generation of the Qin clan and one of the top 10 elites of the Owl Falling Star. However, because of Qin Ing, he was ranked 2nd to Qin Shi Huang. How could he not hate Qin Shi Huang? Lu Outyen smiled indifferently. Seeing that Yi Qinghan had agreed, he cupped his fists and said goodbye. He went back to host the meeting of heroes. In the courtyard, Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Shi Huang and asked indifferently, Son, are you being ostracized by the Qin clan? Yes, they do not dare to ostracize me in public. It is fine. Master, you don't have to worry about it. However, if you accept me as your disciple, I am afraid you will offend my big brother Qin Haoran. You have to be careful of him during the meeting of heroes. Qin Shi Huang was sad. He wanted to live in an ordinary family with parents and brothers who loved him dearly. Even if he could not see, it was fine. Unfortunately, things did not go as he wished. In the entire Qin clan, only Qin Ing doted on him. All the other elders disliked him. That is because you are not strong enough. When you are strong enough, they will change their attitude. Go and cultivate now. Tomorrow, I will bring you to the meeting of heroes and meet your big brother Qin Haoran. Yi Qinghan was disdainful. Ostracizing his own brother for the sake of the clan's assets. How smart could such a genius be? Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang were cultivating hard in the courtyard. There were many scouts patrolling outside, but they did not dare to enter the courtyard. The Qin clan had also sent some experts to protect Qin Shi Huang. Because of the meeting of heroes, the younger generation of the Flaming Cloud City started to become restless. The entire Flaming Cloud City was suppressed, and a slight carelessness could lead to a huge battle. Chapter 71. Late autumn, Flaming Cloud City was like a sea of fire. A gust of autumn wind blew past, sweeping up large amounts of leaves from the maple forest, covering the sky. Half of the sky was red. The red clouds hung in the east, giving off a sense of beauty. Outside the relay station of Lulan Sky Pavilion, there were many young talents gathered. They all wanted to see who was in this year's meeting of heroes. There were also some people who were angry because they did not receive an invitation. They decided to challenge the heroes and fight to become famous. The relay station had a spirit-gathering formation. Inside, there were hundreds of flowers blooming. The huge courtyard occupied an area of 500 meters. There was a large number of Fire Chilan army guarding it, protecting Lu Aotian's safety. At this moment, there were already more than 20 experts in the relay station. Every one of them was an invincible expert of the same level. Among them, there was no lack of princes of kingdoms, and even the princes of empires. They were the super elites of the rich and powerful families. They were arrogant. Being invited to the meeting of heroes already represented their strength. Qingyang Kingdom Situ Fengyun was also among them. His white robe fluttered in the wind, looking extremely elegant. His white jade fan emitted a faint cold air, blocking the scorching heat of autumn. Qin Haoran rode on a fierce beast with the bloodline of an ancient thunder beast. He carried a long sword on his back and wore the special robe of the Qin clan. On his left shoulder, there was a soul-stirring Qin character. No one dared to stop him. "Welcome Brother Qin, please come in." Lu Aotian stood outside the relay station to welcome the guests without the slightest arrogance. "Ha ha ha, Brother Aotian, how many people did you invite this time?" Qin Haoran's robe fluttered in the wind. His face was like jade, but there was less sunshine in his eyes and more haze. "Not many, a total of 72. The lowest cultivation is at the bitter sea stage. Most of them are acquaintances. I will introduce them to you when the time comes. Please come in, Tang Chu, Xian Wuyu and the others have already arrived. You can catch up." Lu Aotian gestured with his hand. Outside the relay station, there was a boiling cauldron of voices. Some of the young experts couldn't hold themselves back anymore. Many of them were undefeated experts, yet they didn't participate in the great ensemble. This made them feel humiliated. If Lu Aotian wasn't strong enough, coupled with his status as the crown prince of ancient Lulan, he wouldn't be able to suppress this scene. "You are underestimating the heroes of the world. Do these people represent the meeting of heroes? This young master has never been defeated since I was 15 years old. 3 years ago, I even rushed into the top 100 of the Owlfall Star Elite competition. If it wasn't for the fact that I was severely injured and had to stop, I would definitely rush into the top 50. Crown Prince, you invited 72 people, but I'm not among them. Are you looking down on me?" A young man walked out of the crowd angrily. He had an arrogant look on his face as he looked disdainfully at the elite who entered the relay station with an invitation. "That's right. Do the 72 of you represent the elites of Owlfall Star? Do you think we're dead? Is the Crown Prince planning to bully us just because you're our host? Flaming Cloud City has at least several thousand bitter sea stage experts. Which one of them is not a veteran of hundreds of battles? You actually only invited 72 people. Until now, I have seen a few unfamiliar faces. We are very suspicious of the quality of this heroes meeting. We're not convinced either." In an instant, there were at least 100 people clamoring. Some even pulled out their swords, killing intent radiating in all directions. Lu Aotian frowned. Looking at the angry crowd, he felt helpless. These people were arrogant and unruly. No one would submit to anyone. The people he invited this time were definitely the top experts of the continent. He did not favor anyone. But this did not mean that these 72 people were the strongest 72 of the younger generation. It was normal for people to be dissatisfied. Everyone, the meeting of heroes represents the true elites. Although Aotian has consulted many information systems, but it is inevitable that there will be mistakes. It is impossible to select the strongest 72 people. If anyone has any objections, there will be a free competition in the afternoon. You can challenge as much as you want. But you must maintain the same level. If you can win against any one of the 72 people, Outyen will definitely apologize in front of the world. Lu Outyen stared at the crowd and said in a low voice. His voice was dignified and polite. Lu Outyen left a way out for himself. He was not too absolute. After all, these people could be people he wanted to rope in. There will be a competition in the afternoon. It's not bad to be able to spar with these top experts. Maybe I can take the opportunity to break through. Everyone was overjoyed. There were also some who vowed that they would become famous in the world. They would be roped in by countless dynasties and become the second most powerful person in the world. Fellow Taoists, the time in the morning is for us 72 people to interact with each other. Please do not disturb us. If you have any questions, there will be an explanation in the competition in the afternoon. Now, please come to the restaurant outside the relay station. I will treat you. Lu Outyen said straightforwardly, instantly winning the good impression of everyone. Good. You are indeed the crown prince of an ancient country. It would be rude if we did not give you face. That's right. Don't make things difficult for the crown prince. If you really think you are an elite, you can just spar in the afternoon. Everyone nodded and discussed. Then, they followed Lu Outyen's protector Shui Gang to the restaurant outside the relay station. Xiao, a figure flashed past with extreme speed. Even Lu Outyen did not see it clearly. Then, a golden invitation card streaked across the sky. The other party had already entered the relay station. Hiss, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Lu Outyen was shocked. He took the invitation card and looked at the other party's name. He could not help but shake his head. Ancient Sword King, Ling Chen. As expected of Xiao Yun stars Young Generation's #1. I'm afraid even some Grotto Heaven Realm experts might not be his match. Lu Outyen sighed. Before anyone could react, another sword rainbow streaked across the sky. The elite invitation card broke through the sky. The other party had used stellar transposition and stepped into the relay station. Xiao Yun King and Wang Shizhi had also arrived. Only the two of them were able to do this. Zhao Wuji was probably a bit inferior. 1 star, 2 emperor-level experts. One could see how high the requirements for emperor-level experts were. Time passed. Many people brought their Dao partners into the relay station. Although only 72 people were invited, there were more than 100 who actually came. An hour later, the gathering was about to start. Almost everyone had arrived but Yi Qinghan had not arrived. Lu Outyen frowned and looked into the distance. Brother Lu, are we still missing people? Qin Haran frowned and asked. Still missing one. Yi Qinghan, let's go in and wait. If he doesn't come, we'll start immediately. Lu Outyen said indifferently. Inside the relay station, Wang Shizhi and Ling Chen sat alone. They were cold and arrogant. Zhao Wuji was even colder. He stood alone in front of the flower bed, admiring the flowers and waiting for the gathering to start. Yi Qinghan is too arrogant. Inviting him for the gathering is giving him face. He actually doesn't know what's good for him and still hasn't arrived. He's clearly looking down on us. Qin Haran said coldly. Lu Outyen, why did you invite an unknown person? Are you sure he's qualified to participate? Xian Wuyu was somewhat dissatisfied. How could someone who did not even dare to accept his challenge be qualified to participate? Ying Feng was dressed in black. He looked at Lu Outyen and realized that Yi Qinghan was the last to arrive. His eyebrows twitched but he didn't say anything. He obviously wouldn't prove anything to Yi Qinghan in front of everyone. After all, losing wasn't something to be proud of. Some people were proud and arrogant. They wanted to show off in front of their Dao partners. Especially in this gathering, they wanted to suppress others together and gain face. They started to discuss in a small circle. They wanted to wait for Yi Qinghan to arrive and teach him a lesson to show off their abilities. Lu Aotian shook his head and smiled, "Don't worry. There's still an incense stick's worth of time. Whether Yi Qinghan is qualified to participate in the gathering or not, we'll know soon enough." Just as everyone was discussing animatedly, a beautiful woman in a rainbow-colored glaze dress flew over. Her temperament was extraordinary, and she carried a trace of otherworldly immortal energy. Her tall and voluptuous figure made people restless, and her cold expression did not affect her peerless beauty at all. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and stared at her. They couldn't shift their gaze away. Even Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi couldn't help but look up. Who is she? Is she here to participate in the gathering, or did someone bring her here? What a powerful cultivation technique. I didn't even notice her when she was beside me. Is she from Owl Falling Star? The absolute beauty's appearance made all the women present pale in comparison. 100 flowers lowered their heads shyly, willing to be her foil. Lu Aotian bowed slightly and cupped his fists. Lu Aotian greets Her Highness Lu Ning. It's her. Isn't she the Thousand Willow King Lu Ning from the 5th grade wealthy family, Lu family of the Owl Dragon region? Why is she here? Wang Shizhi was shocked. He looked at Ling Chen, hoping to confirm her identity. Ling Chen nodded and stood up. He cupped his fists and said, "Dao friend Lu, it's been 3 years since we last met. I didn't expect to see you on Owl Falling Star. So it's brother Ling Chen and brother Wang. It's a pity that we didn't have a showdown in the conferred king battle. I didn't expect that after 3 years, your cultivation would have improved by another level." Lu Ning's eyes were sparkling like a treasure. It made people fall in love with her forever. They couldn't escape from her charm. While everyone was staring at Lu Ning, she didn't show any interest in them. She just said indifferently, "I'm only here to take a look at the so-called gathering of heroes of Owl Falling Star. You don't have to care about me." Even though she said it very indifferently, everyone could hear the disdain in her voice. Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi's aura sank. They were somewhat displeased. Discriminating against Owl Falling Star was the same as looking down on them. It was a regional honor. Lu Aotian laughed awkwardly. Just as he was about to change the topic, he saw Yi Qinghan leading Qin Shihuang into the relay station. Lu Aotian quickly said, "Brother Qinghan is here. Let me introduce you to these heroes." Everyone quickly shifted their dissatisfaction towards Lu Ning to Yi Qinghan. After all, Lu Ning's background was too big. Even if she offended them, they didn't dare to say anything. However, towards a nobody like Yi Qinghan, they still dared to be arrogant. In an instant, at least 10 people locked their malicious gazes on Yi Qinghan. Some women even ridiculed him. However, Yi Qinghan's gaze was fixed on Lu Ning. The lancet mark on Lu Ning's left shoulder was like a sharp divine weapon that shot into Yi Qinghan's eyes. It made his aura stagnate. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Owl Dragon Star's rank 5 great clan, Lu family. The Lu family that participated in the massacre of my Owl Dragon War Star actually appeared on this small star. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. He couldn't control his emotions. In the past, the Lu family's patriarch, great revered Lu Su, had slaughtered countless people from the Yi family. The hatred between him and the Lu family was absolutely irreconcilable. Chapter 72. Yi Qinghan's face turned ugly at Lu Ning's appearance. Qin Shihuang quickly sensed his soul fluctuation and quickly grabbed Yi Qinghan's clothes with his small hands. He shook slightly to keep him awake. Everyone saw Yi Qinghan lose his mind when he saw Lu Ning and thought that Yi Qinghan was bewitched by her beauty. They couldn't help but laugh. Someone like him deserves to participate in the meeting of heroes. "Brother Lu, I have to say that you made a mistake this time," Tang Chu said with disdain. Qin Shihuang, why are you here? It's not enough for you to embarrass yourself at home. You actually came here to embarrass yourself. Qin Haoran looked at Qin Shi with disgust. When he looked at Yi Qinghan again, how could he be in a good mood? He sneered, "This is the master you found? Ha ha ha, really? I don't want to scold you guys anymore. A half-baked trash like you actually wants to take in a disciple. However, taking in a blind person, you guys are quite compatible. Ha ha ha. Brother Haoran is indeed a straightforward person. You don't even give face to your own brother." Everyone looked at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi, mocking and humiliating them. They had completely forgotten about Lu Ning's disdain and humiliation. This was the tragedy of Little Star. "Big brother, you." Qin Shi was furious. He hugged his zither tightly. The zither mark on his palm was restless, about to explode. "Don't call me big brother. I don't have a brother like you. You occupy a large amount of resources, but you are still trash. You are wasting the family's resources. If I were you, I would have given the resources to other talented brothers and sisters," Qin Haoran said coldly. Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Haoran. He had a handsome face, but his brain was full of water. He pressed his hand on Qin Shi shoulder, indicating that he shouldn't expose himself for now. After all, Lu Ning was beside them. "Brother Haoran, give me some face. There is no need to make the situation so awkward. Qin Shi is your brother after all. He is blind, but his heart is clear. I think his future achievements will surpass both of us." Lu Aotian looked at Qin Shi red face and spoke to help him out. "Surpass both of us? Why do you say that?" Qin Haoran asked with disdain. "You will understand in the future." Lu Aotian didn't want to say too much. He turned to the crowd and said, "Since everyone is here, the meeting of heroes will begin now. If anyone has any questions about cultivation, feel free to voice them out. Everyone can solve them together and improve together. After all, we are all people of Owl Falling Star. We are bound together for good or ill. Don't let people from other stars look down on us." Lu Aotian said it casually, but everyone understood what he meant. There were outsiders around and it was not a good time for internal strife. He did not want to be looked down upon by Lu Ning. Lu Ning glanced at Yi Qinghan. When she heard the name, Yi Qinghan, she was stunned. However, when she saw his cultivation level, a mocking smile appeared on her face. "You think you're worthy of being called Yi Qinghan?" Lu Ning scolded in disdain. "Why can't I be called Yi Qinghan?" Yi Qinghan stared at Lu Ning and asked with a hoarse voice. "In short, you're not worthy. As for the reason, you don't deserve to know. How can someone like you participate in the meeting of heroes? I'm disappointed in Owl Falling Star's meeting of heroes." Lu Ning's face was full of disdain. She looked down on Yi Qinghan. Lu Aotian's face turned ugly. Lu Ning was not only humiliating Yi Qinghan, she was also humiliating him and the entire Owl Falling Star. Alright, since Lu Aotian invited him, it means that he has some ability. Whether he's qualified to participate in the meeting of heroes or not, we'll know in a while. Arguing is not beneficial to cultivation. Let the meeting of heroes begin. Ling Chen said coldly. He was after all the number one person in the world. The moment he said that, the entire relay station quieted down. Even Lu Ning chose to remain silent, giving him some face. "All family members, leave and go to the courtyard next door." Lu Aotian glanced at the female cultivators. He was very dignified and there was no room for discussion. The female cultivators were dissatisfied, but they did not dare to say anything. They could only retreat to the room next door. Emperor Qin hesitated for a while, but he did not make things difficult for Lu Aotian. He chose to leave the meeting of heroes. Lu Aotian waved his hand and a barrier appeared, sealing off this side of the courtyard. Some people started to get excited and were ready to show off their abilities. There were also some loose cultivators who had problems they could not solve on their path of cultivation. This was the best opportunity. After all, there was a king here. Ling Chen and the others would not be stingy with their guidance. Yi Qinghan casually found a seat and sat down, right across from Ing Feng. The two of them had a flash of light and then pretended not to know each other. Yi Qinghan kept a low profile and Ing Feng did not want to lose his prestige. No one would take the initiative to mention the battle that day. There were 73 people here, 72 elites of Owl Falling Star and Lu Ning. After a moment of silence, no one spoke. Do you all have any questions? Lu Outyen asked curiously. Everyone discussed softly for a while. Zhao Wuji was the first to stand up. His handsome face made him look like he was only 24 or 25 years old. However, he had become one of the top 3 young cultivators of Owl Falling Star. I am Zhao Wuji, a loose cultivator. I have a question that has troubled me for a long time. I hope to get an answer during this meeting of heroes. Brother Zhao, please ask. If I know, I will tell you everything I know. Lu Outyen quickly said. Friends, what is the Sea of Bitterness? What is the use of the Sea of Bitterness? I have cultivated bitterly for more than 10 years. Although I have overcome my heart devil and opened the Sea of Bitterness, I still do not understand what the Sea of Bitterness is and what is its use. How do I make use of it? Zhao Wuji's words were sonorous and forceful. Everyone was stunned. Everyone knew that the Sea of Bitterness was nothing more than a barren memory. It was a memory that was not willing to be mentioned by cultivators. Anything that was not beneficial to cultivation would be buried in the Sea of Bitterness. The bigger the Sea of Bitterness, the purer the cultivator's body and soul, and the stronger their battle strength. However, the Sea of Bitterness had never been exploited by anyone. It seemed that other than collecting trash, it had no other use. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. He looked at Zhao Wuji and nodded in his heart. To know how to exploit the Sea of Bitterness, it meant that he had a very thorough understanding of cultivation. The Sea of Bitterness was not a garbage collection station. It contained a terrifying power. The Sea of Bitterness connected with the soul. Together with the Sea of Qi, it allowed the cultivator's body to become a circulating soul. It allowed the cultivator's true yuan to flow endlessly. The speed of recovery would also be several times faster. More importantly, the Sea of Bitterness was originally divided into 2 small realms. From the 1st to the 5th star realm, one could turn all grief into the Sea of Bitterness and bury one's inner demons. It was known as the bitter transformation. From the 6th to the 9th star realm, the Sea of Bitterness could evolve into the universe and begin its own reincarnation. It was also known as the Sweet Sea. The bitter transformation and Sweet Sea realms were publicly known in ancient times. Everyone knew about it. However, with the changes of history, most people now thought that the Sea of Bitterness was to bury one's inner demons and was a garbage collection station. They did not know that when one reached the 5th star realm, one had to actively communicate with the Sea of Bitterness and observe the evolution and reincarnation of the universe. The Sweet Sea realm was not useful to those in the Grotto Heaven realm. Its true usefulness would only be revealed in the later stage of the Tao Sovereign realm. Some people could comprehend the Sweet Sea realm in time. When they reached the Tao Sovereign realm, they could comprehend the precepts, search for the great Tao and cultivate supernatural powers. Their battle strength would far surpass those of the same realm. The first sentence of the Divine Martial Imperial Code was that the Sea of Bitterness was the starting point of a cultivator. It was the boundary between humans and cultivators. If one did not cultivate the Sea of Bitterness, he would never be crowned as an emperor. The Divine Martial Imperial Code had such a high evaluation of the Sea of Bitterness. It showed how powerful the Sea of Bitterness was. It was a pity that people did not understand it. Everyone was silent for a long time, not knowing how to answer. Even Wang Shizhi and Ling Chen shook their heads. Finally, they looked at Lu Ning, hoping that she could explain. Lu Ning hesitated for a moment and said with a frown, according to some records, the sea of bitterness is the sea of bitterness. It is the destination of sins. Those who want to use the sea of bitterness will turn into demons and fall into hell forever. In the past 10,000 years, very few people have cultivated the sea of bitterness. Those who cultivate the sea of bitterness have all turned into demons. I advise you to focus on your cultivation and not think about taking shortcuts. This might be the fundamental reason why there has not been an emperor in the past 10,000 years. Zhao Wuji said in a deep voice. He did not believe that the sea of bitterness was a place to seal one's inner demons. Ridiculous. 300 years ago, the number one genius of the Shaolong region, Lei Chen, did not listen to my advice and insisted on cultivating the sea of bitterness. Unfortunately, after 100 years, he went completely crazy and was tortured by his inner demons. He disappeared without a trace. Are you stronger than Lei Chen? Lu Ning asked in disdain. Everyone was silent. Lu Ning was a member of a fifth-grade wealthy family after all. Her understanding of cultivation was much stronger than others. Even Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi were ashamed of their inferiority. No one dared to refute her words. Let's not talk about Senior Lei Chen. Let's talk about the number one genius of the sword principle in the Shaolong region, Senior Gu Qingyu. His sword principle is unparalleled and his Taoist heart is as stable as a rock. He has already entered the middle stage of the Tao Master realm. Even so, he does not dare to touch the inner demons in the depths of the sea of bitterness. Are you stronger than him? Lu Ning continued to question. Is the sea of bitterness only able to seal inner demons? Zhao Wuji was unwilling to give up and wanted to get other answers. Of course. The sea of bitterness has no end and is boundless. It is filled with inner demons. Not only are there inner demons of your own, there are also other inner demons. Even if you can overcome your own inner demons, can you overcome the inner demons sent by the heavenly axiom? Can you avoid being demonized by the endless evil spirits of hell? Lu Ning replied with certainty. The end of the sea of bitterness is chaos. If your Taoist heart is firm and you feel that you can resist the evil spirits of the world, why don't you go and see the chaos? Yi Qinghan calmly reminded. Everyone was stunned. The sea of bitterness had no end. As everyone knew, Yi Qinghan actually said that the end of the sea of bitterness was chaos. Was he trying to fool people? Extremely stupid. Have you been to the end of the sea of bitterness? Saying such words is irresponsible. Do you think the people in the world are easy to fool? The great clans of 5th grade and above clearly state that their members are not allowed to enter the sea of bitterness. Do you think someone like you is qualified to accept disciples? Ridiculous. Lu Ning sneered and mocked. That's right. Don't bother with this kind of person. He doesn't know anything and yet he pretends to know. This is the meeting of heroes, not a place for storytellers to fool a group of lowly people. If you don't know anything, then shut up. Don't expose your ignorance. Qin Haran agreed. Words are meant for those who are fated. You don't have to listen. Yi Qinghan was disdainful. No matter how high these people's achievements were, it would be difficult for them to enter the Hall of Elegance. Lu Outyen, Zhao Wuji, and Ling Chen did not mock him. Their eyes flashed with a strange light as they stared at Yi Qinghan, hoping that he would give some convincing reasons. However, Yi Qinghan was not interested in arguing with them. This time, he only came to see the talents of Owl Fall Star and see who was worthy of his attention. Daoist Yi, you mean that the sea of bitterness can be used? Its function is not as simple as sealing inner demons? Zhao Wuji's eyes lit up. He finally got a different answer. He felt that he had found a like-minded Daoist. Chapter 73. The meeting of heroes was a place where people fought fiercely. Unless one had absolute battle strength and a respected status, anyone who showed their ability would be attacked by the crowd. Everyone looked at Yi Qinghan with disdain, wanting to see him embarrass himself. Zhao Wuji was looking forward to hearing Yi Qinghan's answer. Yi Qinghan did not disappoint him. He nodded and did not say anything more. Some people would give up if they could communicate with them. Don't talk while sitting. I want to see if you dare to enter the sea of bitterness and overcome the demons in your heart. Qin Haoren was disdainful, but thought to himself, if Qin Emperor cultivates with him, it might be beneficial to me. If Qin Emperor enters the sea of bitterness and becomes a demon, who in the Qin family can compete with me? Yi Qinghan shook his head, completely disappointed in Qin Haoren. Yi Qinghan, aren't you awesome? If you enter the sea of bitterness in front of everyone, we will protect you. No one will dare to disturb you. Ha ha ha, stop joking. This kind of person who has just entered the sea of bitterness probably does not know how big the sea of bitterness is. Everyone laughed wildly, losing the seriousness and pressure that the meeting of heroes should have. The sea of bitterness is divided into two small realms, bitter transformation and sweet sea. Only by entering the 5 stars of the bitter sea stage, which is the sweet sea stage, can one enter the sea of bitterness and search for the end of the sea of bitterness, observe the evolution of chaos, and understand the vastness of the universe. Yi Qinghan ignored everyone and muttered to himself. In the bitter sea stage, one's cultivation is the weakest, experience the least, and the demons in one's heart are the weakest. It is the most suitable time to enter the sea of bitterness. Otherwise, in the grotto heaven stage, the demons in one's heart will be 100 times stronger. Those who dare to enter the sea of bitterness will be 1 in 10,000. In the Tao sovereign stage, even if 1 million people enter the sea of bitterness, it will be difficult for one to successfully reach the other side of the sea of bitterness. Zhao Wuji's aura flashed, and his aura increased sharply. A terrifying battle strength erupted, intimidating everyone. Even Lu Ning was shocked, thinking, this person's cultivation is so strong. To think that he is a loose cultivator. His talent is absolutely amazing. Thank you for your guidance, fellow Taoist. Can you tell me where these things come from? Zhao Wuji cupped his fists and asked in a deep voice. He had no choice but to be cautious when facing a life and death calamity. Yi Qinghan calmly replied, it stems from a firm Tao heart. It depends on how firm your dedication to the great Tao is. When the crowd saw that Yi Qinghan could not explain where he came from, their lips curled into a mocking smile. They thought that Yi Qinghan was just making excuses. However, Zhao Wuji wasn't discouraged. He just felt that Yi Qinghan wasn't in a position to say it, but he firmly believed that what he said was correct. The 3 powerful cultivators were silent. Lu Ning snorted disdainfully, causing everyone else to feel disdain. Yi Qinghan, since you say so, then it seems that your comprehension of the bitter sea stage is very deep. Then can you tell me, how to make the greatest use of true yuan? The same amount of true yuan, but when used by different people, will produce different killing power. I want to know whether your killing power is stronger or our killing power is stronger. A young man arrogantly stood up, coldly looking at Yi Qinghan, issuing a challenge. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji immediately looked at Yi Qinghan, hoping that he could take out some decent evidence to make himself more convinced. Yi Qinghan slightly raised his eyebrows, looking at the young man. 5 stars of the bitter sea stage, with the aura of a king. However, it could be that the opponents he encountered were not strong enough, causing his mentality to change. But in Yi Qinghan's view, such a talent could not be considered a genius, his aptitude was very ordinary. Let me introduce, this is Han Dazhuang, the eldest son of the Han family of ancient Lulan. In the last elite competition, he rushed into the top 50, and is now a 5-star bitter sea expert. Lu Aotian indifferently reminded, hoping that Yi Qinghan would not underestimate him. He was the one who invited Yi Qinghan, and if he lost face today, it would not be good for his face. Han Dazhuang arrogantly looked down at Yi Qinghan, making a provocative gesture. Yi Qinghan indifferently smiled, leisurely standing up, and said to Han Dazhuang, "The same amount of true yuan, but when used by different people, the killing power is clearly different, because everyone's strength and martial skills are different. In a situation where the martial skills are the same, it depends on the cultivator's understanding of the use of true yuan. Don't talk nonsense with me, you speak as if your understanding is better than mine. Let's use facts to speak. I will not bully you, I will control my realm to 2 stars of the bitter sea stage. You do not need to suppress it, as long as you can block one of my punches, it will be my loss." Han Dazhuang coldly said. Ing Feng looked at Han Dazhuang's confidence and could not help but be speechless. His full-strength attack, Yi Qinghan could block it. Not to mention someone like Han Dazhuang. "Alright, make your move." Yi Qinghan's fingertips lightly moved, very casually. "Really arrogant, you actually want me to make the first move, then I won't be polite." Han Dazhuang was enraged, his aura erupting. True yuan wrapped around his fist, veins popping out all over his body, and he shouted, "Wild tiger fist." Hua! Grade 3 martial skill, the moment he made his move, space rippled, and the friction between the fist and the air created a misty flame that could steal one's soul. It directly hit Yi Qinghan's chest. Han Dazhuang said that he had suppressed his realm to 2 stars of the bitter sea stage, but in reality, he had only suppressed it to 3 stars. It was very obvious that he wanted to punch through Yi Qinghan's body. Kiki. Yi Qinghan's mouth revealed a trace of disdain. He clenched his iron fist, and his bones tightened, making a crisp sound. He did not even make any extra movements, and raised his fist to smash at the opponent. Boom! Gotcha! Ah! The speed of the 2 people's attacks was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they collided. But what no one expected was that Han Dazhuang's strong body was like a weak woman. His iron arm was directly twisted out of shape, and the sound of his bones breaking was extremely ear-piercing. He was in so much pain that he roared towards the sky, screaming incessantly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan twisted his body, and using the inch strike technique, he instantly exploded with twice the strength, and directly sent Han Dazhuang flying more than 10 meters away. The stone tiles on the ground were crushed by Han Dazhuang, but he did not stop his footsteps. Finally, he crashed into the barrier, and the powerful impact caused him to bleed from his 7 orifices. He directly spat out a large mouthful of essence blood. On the other hand, Yi Qinghan did not move at all. He was still in the same place, punching and retracting his fist, elegant and at ease. Only the corners of his clothes and hair were blown up by the energy, fluttering in the wind. Everyone was shocked and speechless. Although Han Dazhuang was not very strong, and did not even enter the top 40, he should not have lost so miserably. Yi Qinghan did not move at all. Just a casual punch was enough to make Han Dazhuang bleed from his 7 orifices and collapse on the ground. Apart from the top 10 of the elite ranking, who else could do such a thing? Everyone was silent for a long time. No one cared about Han Dazhuang's life or death, and no one took the initiative to provoke Yi Qinghan. Even Lu Ning slightly frowned, clearly surprised. Lu Outyan lightly shrugged his shoulders and walked towards Han Dazhuang. He saw Han Dazhuang lying on the ground, his body twisted, and blood spurting from his eyes. His throat seemed to be blocked by something, and he could not even scream. What was even more terrifying was that Han Dazhuang's right arm had completely changed shape. The bone had pierced out of his shoulder, and the eerie white bone had a trace of blood. This completely shocked Lu Outyan. Yi Qinghan did not use much Xin Yuan at all. An attack of pure physical strength was actually able to beat Han Dazhuang into such a miserable state. What a strong physical strength. I'm afraid his true battle strength is not inferior to mine. Lu Outyen squatted down and took out a healing dan from his universe ring and put it in Han Dazhuang's mouth. He found that it was not effective at all. Han Dazhuang was still trembling, and his body was twisted. He reached out and felt his pulse, and could not help but tremble. Han Dazhuang's body was lacking in qi and blood. His life force had been shattered by a trace of Jin Yuan, and it was constantly dispersing. His qi was also shattered. Yi Qinghan's punch had already crippled him, and it was very likely that he would die here. Brother Qinghan, this. After all, we were all invited by me. Can you give me some face and let him go this time? Lu Outyen was helpless. Even if Yi Qinghan's Jin Yuan was separated from his body, it was still not something he could control. If he forcefully suppressed Han Dazhuang's Jin Yuan, the three people's Jin Yuan would collide and cause Han Dazhuang's Jin Yuan to die. At this moment, Han Dazhuang's body was still being stirred up by Yi Qinghan's sharp Jin Yuan. It was as if his bones were being dismembered, and his face was contorted in pain. Even if he could survive, he would be living under Yi Qinghan's shadow. Lu Outyen pleaded for mercy, but Yi Qinghan did not say anything. He walked in front of Han Dazhuang and gently patted a few major acupuncture points on his body, dealing with the rampaging Jin Yuan in his body. He also released the qi that was sealed in his throat, and turned around to leave. Huff huff. Ah. Han Dazhuang gasped for breath and growled. His voice was a little hoarse, and his head was covered in sweat. He looked at Yi Qinghan's back, and his whole body trembled. His eyes were filled with fear. Zhao Wuji's eyes brightened, and with a smile, he took the initiative to say, "Brother Yi, please come here. We can talk." Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi also nodded, and let Yi Qinghan sit next to them. Everyone was even more jealous. The top three of the younger generation, two kings, actually thought highly of Yi Qinghan. Who could enjoy such an honor? Lu Ning stared at Yi Qinghan with a strange expression, but she did not think too highly of him. The geniuses of the Owlfall Star were not worthy of her attention. Yi Qinghan, I see that you have some ability, but your cultivation is a little lacking. Let me test you. If you can satisfy me, I am willing to take you in as a servant. Lu Ning said indifferently. Yi Qinghan looked at Lu Ning, but his eyes were fixed on the willow leaf embroidery on her clothes. He was absent-minded, and Lu Ning was disdainful. Servant? You think you are worthy? Yi Qinghan clenched his fists, and his tone was filled with hostility. Back then, when he was strong, Lu Su followed him around like a dog, trying to curry favor with him. However, when the Yi clan was in trouble, that ingrate was crueler than anyone else, and he slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Yi clan disciples. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was determined to destroy the Lu clan. Huh? Lu Ning was startled. She thought that Yi Qinghan was drooling over her beauty, and that was why he was absent-minded. She did not think that he would be so hostile. I am not worthy to be your master. For trash like you, I can casually summon thousands of people with a wave of my hand. You think too highly of yourself. Don't think that you're a genius just because you defeated a piece of trash. In my eyes, you're nothing more than trash. Only your physical strength is a bit stronger. I didn't see any skill in your martial skill just now. Lu Ning was refuted. Her aura immediately turned cold and she angrily scolded. Chapter 74. The meeting of heroes lasted for more than 4 hours. Everyone was conversing with each other. There were also some experts who humbly asked for guidance from the two kings. The atmosphere was very lively. Yi Qinghan, Zhao Wuji, Ling Chen and the others talked for a while and stopped talking. They listened to everyone's conversation. However, most of the experts did not come to the meeting of heroes to share their experiences but to make friends. Lu Outyen wandered through the crowd. Some maids brought a large amount of spirit fruits and wine. Everyone was divided into 8 tables and began to drink. Yi Qinghan glanced at Lu Ning and found that she was also looking at him. He could not help but think, did she discover something? This Lu Ning is the top expert of the Lu clan's younger generation. I cannot kill her for now. Otherwise, I will attract a large number of experts from the Lu clan and I will be exposed. Lu Ning was also thinking, this Yi Qinghan and the Yi Qinghan of the Battle Owl Star have the same name. Their temperaments are also similar. However, the difference in cultivation level is too big. There should not be any relationship. However, why does this Yi Qinghan hate me? Ling Chen and the others also noticed the strange attitude between Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning. However, they did not join in. Instead, they took the initiative to sit in the middle. They did not want Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning to have a conflict. Perhaps because Yi Qinghan belonged to the Owl Star, they did not want him to suffer. Yi Qinghan exchanged a few more words with Zhao Wuji, and understood most of Zhao Wuji's identity. Yi Qinghan felt that he could make use of Zhao Wuji to help him deal with some matters that were inconvenient for him to deal with, so he helped Zhao Wuji solve some of his questions about martial arts. Zhao Wuji worshipped and respected Yi Qinghan even more. He would never have thought that the person in front of him was a great revered martial artist. To be able to receive a few words from Yi Qinghan was better than 10 years of bitter cultivation. Brother Ye's knowledge and understanding of the martial path makes me ashamed. If you encounter any difficulties on the Owl Star in the future, just say the word. If I can do it, I will definitely not frown. Zhao Wuji cupped his fists and said. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and nodded. After interacting with Zhao Wuji for so long, Yi Qinghan had discovered that he was meticulous and intelligent. He was also incomparably firm on the martial path and could communicate with him. As for whether or not he could open his heart to him, Yi Qinghan would have to observe him for a while. Just when the meeting of heroes was at its most lively, a zither sound suddenly blasted through the void, penetrating the enchantment, causing everyone's blood and qi to burn. Everyone's pupils shrank as they looked outside the enchantment. The sound of the zither was filled with anger and violence, but there was also some kindness and no murderous intent. Rub, Yi Qinghan suddenly stood up and looked at the courtyard next door. He coldly said to Lu Outyen, "Open the barrier." Lu Outyen was shocked. He knew that the zither was played by Qin Shi Huang. He could hear the anger in the zither music. He thought, bastard, these women deserve to die. They actually bullied a child and angered this fierce wolf. Lu Outyen quickly opened the enchantment seal and looked at the courtyard next door that had turned into ruins. A group of peerless beauties were now in ragged clothes with dirt all over their faces. Yi Qinghan rushed out in a flash. He saw Qin Shi Huang hugging his zither and retreating to the side. There was a bloody handprint on his immature and flawless face. Yi Qinghan's eyes were burning with anger and killing intent. Kiki, Yi Qinghan clenched his fists tightly and arrived in front of Qin Shi Huang. Looking at the helpless Qin Shi Huang, his heart was filled with pity. Master, they slapped my face. That's why I intervened. Qin Shi Huang pursed his lips and said with a pitiful voice. Yi Qinghan was angry and helpless at the same time. You blind man! How dare you hit me? I will kill you today. A voice roared out. Everyone looked up and saw a woman crawling out from the ruins of the house. Her clothes were ragged and she looked like a beggar. At the moment, she was looking at Qin Shi Huang furiously. She pulled out her sword and rushed over. Kill him. This blind man can't be reasoned with. At the same time, more than 10 women in a sorry state pulled out their weapons and rushed toward Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang. The killing intent in their eyes was self-evident. Kill them. This is your master's order. Yi Qinghan's voice sounded like it came from hell. It was gloomy and terrifying, and it turned into ice and froze everyone. Yi Qinghan didn't like Qin Shi Huang's delicate and weak personality. He was like a little girl. How could he reach the peak with such talent and such a character? From today onwards, he had to cultivate him to be decisive in killing. There were some people and some things that didn't need to be tolerated. They could only be solved by killing. If you dare to hurt people, don't blame me for being impolite. Tang Chu took a step toward Yi Qinghan. He flipped his palm and a sharp fourth-grade spiritual sword appeared in his hand. Qin Shi Huang. You trash. Who taught you how to sneak attack others? Qin Haoren was furious. Not only did he not help his own brother, but he also claimed that Qin Shi Huang had sneakily attacked others without even knowing the situation. He even ignored the handprint on his face. Everyone, please calm down. This is the Lulan relay station, not a battlefield. Let me understand the situation first. I will deal with it myself. Lu Outyan was incomparably dignified. His dragon qi erupted. His status as the empire's crown prince made the women stop in their tracks. They looked at Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan angrily as if they were looking at dead people. Some of the elites behind these women stood out and stood side by side with Tang Chu. They looked at Yi Qinghan with hostility. Once the situation got out of hand, they would definitely attack Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang. Yi Qinghan revealed a cruel smile. He turned to Lu Outyan and said, "Brother Outyan, if you can't give me an explanation for what happened today, then don't blame me for starting a massacre." Fine. I will not be biased. Otherwise, where will the glory of my Lulan Empire go? Where will I, Lu Outyan, put my face? Since ancient times, no one has ever dared to cause trouble in the meeting of heroes. This is my first meeting of heroes, and it's really a joke. Lu Outyan's eyes flashed with a cold flame. He glanced at the women. He understood that today's matter was definitely not started by Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang had a weak personality. He definitely couldn't help but make a move. Tang Chu, come back. Today's matter must be handled according to the rules. No one is allowed to be biased. If Xiao Yu and the others are at fault, then you can't stop Brother Lu from punishing them. Otherwise, if you think you can bully others with your numbers, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Zhao Wuji suddenly stood up and said coldly. Zhao Wuji chose to side with Yi Qinghan. Obviously, he chose to help Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and coldly looked at the crowd. Finally, his eyes locked onto Qin Haoren. There was no need to hide his killing intent. Qin Haoren, which eye of yours saw my son sneak attacking others? You better give me an explanation today. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you. Yi Qinghan coldly asked. What a joke. How could I, as his older brother, not know the ability of this trash Qin Shi Huang? If he didn't sneak attack others, how could he put Xiao Yu and the others in such a difficult situation? Qin Haoren disdainfully mocked. You're courting death. Yi Qinghan was furious. He didn't need this so-called older brother. Qin Shi Huang was one of his people. He definitely wouldn't allow others to bully him. Boom, Yi Qinghan twisted the ground with the tip of his foot. The ground shattered. His fist turned into a thunderbolt and fiercely smashed towards Qin Haoren. Qin Haoren was shocked. He couldn't dodge Yi Qinghan's attack at such a close distance. He could only erupt with his strongest combat strength. His true yuan poured out. The majestic true yuan attached to his fist and fiercely collided with Yi Qinghan's fist. Yi Qinghan twisted his waist and fiercely rotated his fist. In an instant, he exploded with 10 times the strength. The sharp true yuan was like a lightning bolt that could destroy anything. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, how could Qin Haoren's body be Yi Qinghan's opponent? In such a hurry, he didn't even use half of his strength. He was directly sent flying by Yi Qinghan's fist. Ah! Qin Haoren only felt a sharp pain in his right arm. Flesh and blood splattered on his fist, revealing the blood and bones. He retreated more than 10 steps and crashed into the wall, kneeling on the ground. You bastard! You actually sneak attacked me. As expected, a great master produces a great disciple. You only know how to sneak attack. Qin Haren's face was pale. He half knelt on the ground. His right arm was twisted. Blood continuously dripped down, wetting the ground. Tang Chu and the others ridiculed. Yi Qinghan didn't declare a battle and launched a sneak attack. There was no need to investigate. It was obvious that Qin Shi took the initiative to launch a sneak attack. That was why all the female cultivators were in such a difficult situation. Is that so? I only know how to launch sneak attacks. Then I will launch a sneak attack once. I will let you understand what a sneak attack is. Yi Qinghan sneered. Just as he was about to attack, he saw Lu Outyan standing between the two of them. Lu Outyan's expression was very ugly. Brother Yi, can you allow me to handle this? Lu Outyan suppressed his anger. He could explode at any time. Lu Ning looked at the so-called meeting of heroes. She couldn't help but sneer. Everyone saw it. However, she pushed all the blame onto Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. She thought that the two of them made Owl Falling Star lose face. Get out of the meeting of heroes. Fuck, you only know how to launch sneak attacks. What kind of elite are you? That's right. Prince, Ancient Sword King, Owl Falling Star King, you want to change the atmosphere of our Owl Falling Star's heroes. How can this kind of people be qualified to participate in the meeting of heroes? Qin Haren and Tang Chu's friends spoke out one after another. They blamed Yi Qinghan together. Shut up, all of you. Pa. Hua, Ling Chen slammed his palm on the table. The sandalwood table shattered, turning into fine powder. Qi spread out in all directions. The aura of a king shrouded, controlling the atmosphere of the entire relay station. Everyone no longer said anything. The atmosphere was extremely oppressive. Only Lu Ning revealed a faint mocking expression. This made the people of Owl Falling Star feel even more disgusted with Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. Qin Shi, tell me, why did you suddenly attack? Lu Outyan looked at the 5-finger mark on Qin Shi face. He was extremely angry and asked coldly. They forced me to drink wine. I didn't drink, so they suddenly slapped me. They wanted me to kneel down. That's why I attacked. Qin Shi hugged his zither tightly and retreated to Yi Qinghan's side. It seemed that only the zither and Yi Qinghan could give him a sense of security. Xiao Yu, is what he said true? You girls in your 20s, with the cultivation of the bitter sea stage and above, actually bullied a 13-year-old child. And he can't even see. Has your Dao heart been eaten by dogs? Lu Outyan angrily berated. He did not show any favoritism because of the family behind them. Brother Lu, isn't it a bit biased to believe one person's words? Can Qin Shi words be completely trusted? Why don't you ask Xiao Yu and the others what the real situation is? Xian Wuyu indifferently said. Yi Qinghan was indifferent and did not say anything. Seeing Xian Wuyu and the others deliberately showing favoritism to these girls, he clenched his fists. He was prepared to use his own method to resolve this matter. Chapter 75. Xiao Yu and the other female cultivators were scared out of their wits by Lu Outyan's aura. Their faces were pale, but when they saw Xian Wuyu, Tang Chu and the others working together, they immediately became fearless and glared at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. This blind man doesn't know what's good for him. We saw that he was still a child and gave him some spirit wine. Not only did he not appreciate it, he even insulted us. I couldn't help but teach him a lesson. I didn't expect him to sneak attack us. Xiao Yu complained first, pushing all the blame to Qin Shi. That's right, we can testify for Sister Xiao Yu. The rest of the female cultivators echoed, confirming Qin Shi Huang's crime. I didn't. You didn't give me spirit wine at all, it was turbid wine. You were talking behind my back, trying to embarrass me. I heard it all. Master, I didn't lie. Qin Shi Huang clenched his teeth and said. Hee, this is really fun. I didn't expect the meeting of heroes to be like this. Lu Ning sneered, making Lu Outyan and the others even more unsightly. The atmosphere in the relay station became extremely oppressive. Yi Qinghan's aura was extremely cold. If Qin Shi Huang's words couldn't be trusted, then no one in the entire universe could. Zither Immortal Crimson Demon Physique had an extremely high requirement for the purity of one's soul. Xiao Yu relied on her family and Tang Chu's support to be arrogant. With the cooperation of the other female cultivators, she was confident that Lu Outyan couldn't do anything to her. She even wanted to punish Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan to vent their anger. You really think I can't find out who's lying? This is the meeting of heroes, it won't be conducted according to the Empire's laws. If you're lying, you better admit it now. Otherwise, when I find out, your family won't be able to protect you. Lu Outyan was incomparably angry. He coldly glanced at the female cultivators. He found that many of them didn't care and stood to the side. They didn't want to offend Tang Chu and Xiao Yu. If they didn't testify for them, then they wouldn't be able to testify for Qin Shi Huang. It started to drizzle, but no one dared to use Jin Yuan to protect their body, letting the rain fall on their body. Lu Ning leaned back in her chair and supported her head with her right hand. She looked down at everyone and the smile on her face was unbearable for the people of Owl Falling Star. Let me ask you one thing. Who dares to lie to me? Even if your ancestors come, they won't be able to protect you. Ling Chen looked down at the crowd. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to see through their souls. Xiao Yu's body trembled. She couldn't help but look at Tang Chu. However, she received a nod from Tang Chu, which made her even more confident. Who started the conflict between the Qin Emperor and Xiao Yu? Ling Chen's aura exploded as he coldly scolded. It's Emperor Qin. Xiao Yu and the others paused for a moment. Looking at the resolute gazes of Tang Chu, Xian Wuyu, and the others, they pointed at Qin Shi Huang in unison. Qin Shi Huang, what do you have to say? Ling Chen asked coldly. I'm not lying. It was these people who teamed up to mess with me, Qin Huang replied. Good. Since all of you have your own opinions, it means that one of you is determined to lie to me and doesn't put me, Zero Chen, in your eyes. Ling Chen laughed evilly. His fingertip trembled and a broken dragon blade appeared in his hand. It emitted a cold aura that intimidated everyone. Yi Qinghan was still indifferent. Since Ling Chen and Lu Outyan wanted to find out the truth, he was naturally happy that he didn't have to do anything himself. Furthermore, he believed that the Qin Emperor wasn't wrong. Let them investigate first. If they couldn't find anything, then he would have to do something himself. Xiao Yu and the others were terrified, but they still pretended as if nothing had happened. However, they couldn't escape the eyes of Yi Qinghan, Ling Chen and the others. I promise, whoever is willing to tell the truth today, I will take her as my personal maid. Absolutely no one will dare to take revenge on you or the family behind you. I will even support the family behind you. Ling Chen made a promise that made countless women on the Owl Falling Star go crazy. It shocked many of them. Xiao Yu's face turned pale. She noticed that some people were starting to get restless. She couldn't help but look at Tang Chu. Tang Chu glanced at everyone. His eyes flickered as he signaled some people to control the women behind them and stop talking nonsense. Wu Yu was also exerting pressure. Even Qin Haoran didn't want to help the Qin Emperor. He couldn't wait to kill the Qin Emperor this time. Wu Yu, Tang Chu, and the others were powerful. Together with Qin Haran and the others, they were enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ling Chen. For a moment, none of the female cultivators dared to talk nonsense. Moreover, only a few of them knew the truth. After all, it was a small group of people who came up with the idea to trick the Qin emperor. Ling Chen and Lu Outyan didn't expect such a result. They both took out their weapons and looked down at everyone, emitting a terrifying aura. There is a kind of heart demon in this world. It can trigger the deepest memories in the sea of bitterness and make people tell the truth in front of everyone. It is called the sincerity heart demon. Yi Qinghan's voice was hoarse. He looked down at Xiao Yu and said in a low voice, "And I can trigger your heart demon and make you tell the truth." What a joke! Who are you trying to scare? If you have the ability, show me your heart demon. Wu Yu sneered. He stood between Yi Qinghan and Xiao Yu, not allowing Yi Qinghan to get close to them. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't use it. Yi Qinghan, as his master, you didn't teach your disciple a lesson when he made a mistake. Instead, you blamed Xiao Yu and the others. Xiao Yu alone can lie, but can these dozens of female cultivators also lie? Tang Chu asked coldly. Yi Qinghan sneered. He tried his best to control his emotions. He didn't want to expose the existence of the heavy berserk blade in front of Lu Ning, but summoned the blood thorn. Master, I can make them tell the truth. The Qin emperor hugged his zither tightly, afraid that Yi Qinghan would get into a conflict with the others and be beaten up. Xiao Yu and the others laughed. A 13-year-old child, and in the blood ignition realm. Can he make these bitter sea stage people tell the truth? Can he control them? Try it first. If it doesn't work, I won't let anyone bully you. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Don't be so soft and weak in the future. Some people have to be killed. Do you understand? Oh, I understand. The Qin emperor was encouraged. His face was red and he was excited. In this world, there was finally someone who could protect him unconditionally. Even his grandfather Qin Ning would ignore his thoughts because of the Qin family. Tang Chu, back off. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving you face. Ling Chen said coldly. Lu Outyan and Zhao Wuji stood out at the same time, exerting pressure. Tang Chu and the others immediately felt threatened. They didn't want to fall out with Ling Chen and the others, so they could only back off to the side. However, they were always on guard against Yi Qinghan. If Yi Qinghan dared to attack, they would definitely attack. The Qin emperor's tender and delicate body didn't care about the ground at all. He sat cross-legged on the ground and spread out his zither. His 5 jade-like fingers gently plucked the strings. The sound of nature moved people's souls. Lu Ning's body suddenly sat up straight, staring at the Qin emperor. Her eyes were filled with shock and joy. Hum hum hum, the soul-stirring sound of the zither was like the sound of nature, attacking everyone's souls directly. Some people with unstable Dao hearts lost their defense and completely lost control. These elites' expressions changed as they tried their best to resist the invasion of the zither sound. Tang Chu even shouted, causing Xiao Yu and the others to stagger and almost fall down. Tang Chu, do you want to fight with me? Ling Chen threatened. Tang Chu's expression changed and he didn't say anything. If Xiao Yu and the others still couldn't resist the attack of the Qin emperor's zither sound, they would have to give up. Buzz buzz buzz, the melody was melodious and charming. The Qin emperor was like a zither fairy. His tender face revealed a dignified aura that couldn't be blasphemed. The zither sound was pure and holy, purifying all evil. Xiao Yu and the others were sweating profusely as they clenched their teeth and resisted. Alcade evil suppressing zither song. Isn't this the famous song of the ancient zither emperor, the incomplete emperor? It has been lost for a long time. How can this little guy play it? Why does he sound like a girl? Lu Ning's pupils contracted slightly as she gazed at the side of the Qin emperor's face. It was pure white and flawless. He was wearing a tight purple battle robe. He was about 160 centimeters tall. The hair on his temples reached his shoulders and swayed in the wind. The Qin Emperor's 5 fingers plucked the zither faster and faster, attacking the souls of the female practitioners. The sweat on his forehead soaked his black hair and dripped onto his clothes. Yet, he still clenched his teeth and resisted. Break them one by one. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but remind with a frown when he saw the Qin Emperor attacking so many people at the same time. The Qin Emperor's eyes brightened. The melody changed abruptly and became more vigorous. It turned into a forceful melody and attacked a weaker female practitioner beside Xiao Yu. The female practitioner was attacked by the Qin Emperor alone. The defense of her Dao heart was broken, and her soul collapsed instantly. Ah, no. I was wrong. I shouldn't have lied. The good-looking female practitioner retreated in fear with her hair disheveled. Buzz, the Qin Emperor's 10 fingers burst out at the same time. A strange melody rushed towards the woman. The birthmark on his right palm burst out with golden light. Then, as the Qin Emperor's true essence was exhausted and his soul was exhausted, he disappeared again. However, the woman didn't have it easy either. She retreated like a lunatic and kept scratching her ears and cheeks. She begged for mercy in fear as if she was frightened. Lu Outyan reached out and grabbed her. He asked coldly, "Did you target the Qin Emperor and play tricks on him?" "Yes. Yes. Sorry, I was wrong. It's all Xiao Yu and Han Meyer's fault. They were the ones who wanted to play tricks on the Qin Emperor. We were just cooperating." The woman was terrified and tears flowed down her face. Xiao Yu and a disheveled woman beside her trembled. They shouted, "Blind, what evil method did you use to control her? She's not normal anymore. She's talking nonsense. She's obviously being controlled. Demonic arts. She learned such a vicious technique at such a young age to control people's hearts. If we don't enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, how can we face the living beings of the world?" Tang Chu scolded coldly. "Bastard! How can a trash like you appear in the Qin clan? You don't learn good things, but you learn these demonic arts from some dubious people. Today, I'm going to clean up the clan. So that you don't embarrass yourself again." Qin Haran was furious. His right arm had recovered because of the spirit pill. He immediately said coldly. No one thought that Tang Chu and the others would lie with their eyes wide open. At this point, they still wanted to throw dirty water at Yi Qinghan and the Qin Emperor. Ha ha ha. Yi Qinghan laughed wildly. He looked at everyone coldly. He pulled up the soft and boneless Qin Emperor and said coldly, "Master will tell you today. Since you can't reason with him, then use your fists to do the talking." Chapter 76. A frivolous voice, incomparably arrogant, filled with murderous aura, piercing through the inn, causing the surrounding 1,000 meters to fall into a deathly silence. What's going on? Why is there such a strong murderous aura at the meeting of heroes? Everyone in the inn looked at each other, discussing spiritedly. Let's go and take a look, something seems to have happened at the meeting of heroes. Looks like they are fighting. Ha ha ha, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This meeting of heroes will be lively, I've been looking forward to this moment. Close to 100 experts of the bitter sea level and above rushed towards the center of the inn, their faces filled with schadenfreude. Many of them were filled with battle intent, ready to fight. The center of the inn was instantly surrounded, the enchantment was gone. A group of people looked at the people of the meeting of heroes, discovering that the blood stinger in Yi Qinghan's hand was emitting a sinister blood aura, looking coldly at everyone with the Qin Emperor. Who is this guy? Damn, he wants to fight against the heroes of the world alone. His cultivation is so low, he is actually a rookie who just broke into the bitter sea stage, how can he participate in the meeting of heroes? A rookie in the early stages of the bitter sea stage is bringing a little kid in the blood ignition stage to provoke everyone, and the opponents are Xian Wuyu and Tang Chu. Is this guy looking for death? Everyone was shocked, and mocked one after another. That kid seems to be wearing the clothes of the Qin family. Why is Qin Haran not helping him, but standing on the opposite side? I guess the kid made a mistake and caused everyone to be angry. Some people who did not know the truth began to make wild guesses, causing Yi Qinghan to turn around and glare. Instantly, there was complete silence. Since reason does not make sense, then use the most primitive method, fight. Since it is the meeting of heroes, no one is afraid of death. Let's take the next step, see you on the martial arts field. Lu Outyan said coldly. Wait, Yi Qinghan, since you are incompetent, then give up your disciple. I want this kid, I will make the decision for him. Lu Ning slowly stood up, staring at the pure Qin emperor, and said disdainfully. This matter has nothing to do with you, are you worthy to be his master? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Ignorant brat, it's not up to you to decide if I'm worthy or not. It's up to the Qin emperor to decide. Lu Ning looked disdainfully at everyone. Her aura became fierce, and the aura of a king erupted, suppressing all the heroes of the owl falling star. She then looked down at Qin Shi Huang and said indifferently, Qin Shi Huang, I am Lu Ning, the princess of the Lu clan, a fifth-grade great clan. I am at the peak of the 9 stars of the Bitter Sea realm, and will break through to the Grotto Heaven realm at any time. I am willing to accept you as my disciple. If you are willing to follow me, I will guarantee that your Qin clan will prosper and no one will dare to bully you. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one would have thought that Lu Ning would snatch a disciple at this time. Moreover, she was snatching a blind person. It simply overturned everyone's worldview. Qin Haran's face was filled with anger and jealousy. It was one thing for the Qin clan patriarch, Qin Ing, to help the Qin emperor, but Yi Qinghan had actually accepted this blind man as his disciple. Now, Lu Ning was actually trying to snatch him away in front of everyone. What was he? He's just a blind man with poor talent and poor battle prowess. He doesn't even have the slightest bit of manliness. What right does he have to suppress me in everything? Many people looked at Qin Shi Huang with envy. Even the elites were jealous. Why didn't Lu Ning extend an olive branch to them? Damn, this blind man is so lucky. He actually attracted the admiration of a king from a rich and powerful family. Why didn't this happen to me? Could it be that Lu Ning likes young men? Some of the youths outside shook their heads and sighed in jealousy. Lu Ning was at the peak of the Bitter Sea realm and was also an invincible king. She might even be stronger than Zero Chen. How could she not hear them? She immediately became angry and shouted coldly, whoever dares to talk nonsense again, don't blame me for destroying you. When Lu Ning was angry, everything became silent. No one dared to say anything. Her character of bullying the weak and fearing the strong was comparable to that of the parrot. Fortunately, no one knew where the parrot went. Otherwise, there would definitely be a good show to watch today. Qin Shi Huang, do you choose Yi Qinghan or me? As long as you are a smart person, you should know how to choose. Lu Ning stared at Qin Shi Huang. She discovered that he was actually pulling Yi Qinghan's clothes tightly. She couldn't help but frown. I, Qin Shi Huang, only have one teacher in my life, and that is him. Qin Shi Huang replied with certainty. Yi Qinghan grinned. Although Qin Shi Huang was a bit weak, he was still very resolute in matters of right and wrong. If Qin Shi Huang betrayed him today, that would be really embarrassing. Idiot! You are incurable. I don't think you will have much of a future in this life. I don't want to take you in. Lu Ning was furious and mocked him. You are really an incurable trash. If the Qin family is in your hands, it will fall sooner or later. Qin Haran saw that Qin Shi Huang did not hesitate to reject Lu Ning and became even angrier. His anger completely exploded. Pa! A crisp slap sounded in all directions. Qin Haran spun a few times. He was hit until he was dizzy and confused. You are the real trash. If you dare to talk nonsense again and humiliate Qin Shi Huang, I don't mind sending you to hell. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and returned to his original position. It was as if he had not moved at all. Hiss! Ling Chen and Lu Ning sucked in a breath of cold air. They did not see how Yi Qinghan attacked and how he returned to his original position. This speed was beyond their imagination. Qin Haran was stunned. His body was trembling with anger. He roared angrily, "You bastard, other than sneak attacks, what else can you do? Your disciples are also shameless. What a pair of bastards. Is that so? Even if I didn't sneak attack, what can you do to me?" Yi Qinghan's lips curled up as he asked disdainfully. You. Qin Haran was furious. He was about to mock Yi Qinghan, but his eyes met with Yi Qinghan's emotionless eyes. It was as if he was burned by the cold flames in Yi Qinghan's eyes. His pupils shrank and he did not dare to say another word. Trash will always be trash. I can't be bothered to bicker with you. But remember, from today onwards, Qin Shi Huang is my disciple. If you dare to say another word about him, I'll rip your head off. Yi Qinghan warned coldly. At this moment, in front of all the heroes of Owl Falling Star, Qin Haran, as one of the top 10 existences of the younger generation, was humiliated like this. How could he stand it? He was about to explode and fight to the death with Yi Qinghan, but was stopped by Ling Chen. Today is the meeting of heroes. The people who destroyed the meeting of heroes have not been punished. Don't make trouble. If you have something to say it on the martial arts stage. Use your fists to speak. Ling Chen said in a low voice. Tang Chu and the others sneered. In terms of martial strength, they had so many experts. Would they be afraid of Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang? Moreover, Qin Shi Huang's battle strength was negligible. Yi Qinghan was also at the 1 star of the Bitter Sea stage. What was the point of being fast? Xian Wuyu alone was enough to suppress them. Okay, let's go to the martial arts stage. Today, my women have been humiliated like this. There must be an explanation. Tang Chu said in a muffled voice, flicking his sleeves and leaving with Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu was incomparably arrogant. Before leaving, she swept a provocative glance at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang. The murderous intent and hatred in her eyes was self-evident. Yi Qinghan put his arm around Qin Shi Huang's shoulder, his large hand touching his forehead, and whispered, "Don't make a sound. I'll pass on a martial technique to you. It's called the Absorbing Soul Roar. It's a grade 5 martial technique. Integrate it into the zither and use the zither to attack. Later, kill those women for me." Qin Shi Huang's heart thumped wildly, his face and ears turning red. When he heard that he was going to kill people, he was first taken aback. Then, he felt Yi Qinghan's cold aura and nodded gravely. Your personality is too soft. That's why so many people bully you. Next time, whoever bullies and humiliates you, kill them directly. No matter who they are, you have to kill them even if you have to risk your life. Only in this way will others respect you and be afraid of you. Do you understand? Yi Qinghan continued to instruct. He clearly wanted to cultivate Qin Shi Huang into a madman like him. Qin Shi Huang did not hesitate, choosing to believe in Yi Qinghan. He continued to nod, his breathing quickening. The square of Flaming Cloud City, with a radius of 1,000 meters, was a huge martial arts stage. It was usually used for competitions between clans. It could withstand the attacks of the peak of the Bitter Sea stage. At this moment it was surrounded by the Fire Qilin army. Cultivators below the Bitter Sea stage could not come near. Only those at the Bitter Sea stage had the qualifications to come and watch the battles of the meeting of heroes. In the audience, Tang Chu looked down at everyone. His battle robe fluttered in the wind, incomparably arrogant. Xiao Yu, when you have the chance, kill Qin Shi Huang. Tang Chu said coldly. Ah. He is a direct descendant of the Qin clan. I'm afraid. Xiao Yu's expression changed. She was not afraid of humiliating Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan, but she did not dare to kill Qin Shi Huang. What are you afraid of? I'm here. Moreover, this is the meeting of heroes. Life and death are decided by the heavens. Clans are not allowed to participate. Moreover, Qin Haran is asking me for help. Tang Chu sneered. Looking at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang who were coming from afar, a murderous intent surged in his eyes. Don't worry, as long as you do this well, your husband will give you everything you want. The Xiao family will definitely become a third-rank family. Tang Chu's eyes shone brightly as he teased Xiao Yu with a hoarse voice. Good. Listen to your husband. As long as you are behind me, I'm not afraid of anything. Xiao Yu's eyes lit up as she said excitedly. Tang Chu sneered and thought to himself, Xiao Yu, you killed Qin Shi Huang. I will take care of Xiao clan for you. You won't die in vain. Xiao Yu obviously did not know that Tang Chu had decided to give up on her. He wanted to use her to kill Qin Shi Huang and then kill her. Not only would he get the benefits promised by Qin Haran, but he would also not draw the flames of war to himself. Killing two birds with one stone. Tang Chu was a smart person. He obviously would not offend the huge Qin clan for a small Xiao Yu. This was the scheme of an official's disciple. Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi came to the judges' stand and looked down at the martial arts arena. They were prepared to control everything. As the host, Lu Outyan naturally stood at the judges' stand. Zhao Wuji came to Yi Qinghan's side and said indifferently, Qinghan, I'll help you. Consider it as thanks for your help today. Zhao Wuji, one of the top 3 of the younger generation, stood on Yi Qinghan's side. Yi Qinghan was finally not alone. After all, Zhao Wuji's battle strength was the strongest other than the 2 emperors. Yi Qinghan smiled and nodded. Even if he did not need Zhao Wuji's help, he was touched by his attitude. After all, no one was optimistic about him and Qin Shi Huang. However, Zhao Wuji stood up without hesitation. This was enough to explain everything. Chapter 77. There was a sea of people in the martial arts arena, the noise spreading far and wide. The majority of the people stood behind Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu, while Yi Qinghan only had the Qin Emperor and Zhao Wuji by his side. The situation had become one-sided. Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu smiled evilly, looking at Yi Qinghan with disdain. The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. Since you all agreed to use battle to decide who is right and who is wrong, then use your fists to do the talking. Lu Outyan said coldly. Okay, I agree. Tang Chu said without hesitation. In his view, there was him, Qin Haran, Xian Wuyu, Di Kong and the other top 10 experts here, while the other side only had Zhao Wuji. No matter how strong he was, he could not be stronger than a few people taking turns to fight. As for Yi Qinghan and the Qin Emperor, they were people who would definitely die and could be ignored. Yi Qinghan clenched the blood thorn and nodded. The killing intent in his eyes was restrained and could steal people's souls. Then let's say in advance, will we fight to the death or will we stop? Lu Outyan asked. Fight to the death. Yi Qinghan coldly replied. Everyone was taken aback. They did not expect Yi Qinghan to be even stronger than Tang Chu and the others. He actually chose to fight to the death. Lu Outyan suddenly frowned. Was he courting death? The other side had so many people, even if they used their heads, they could exhaust the 3 of them to death. Moreover, the Qin Emperor was still a child, and Yi Qinghan was a 1-star bitter sea stage rookie. Ling Chen also frowned. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so impulsive. However, he did not step out to stop him. As a king, he must be impartial, otherwise how could he convince the masses? Lu Ning sneered, thinking, since you want to die, then die. But I will definitely take this disciple. When you die and the Qin emperor is seriously injured, it will be the time for me to act. Tang Chu and the others laughed. Qin Haoran did not conceal his killing intent at all. His hatred for the Qin emperor had obviously reached an unsuppressible level. Ing Feng retreated to the side, choosing to remain neutral. Up until now, he was the only one who knew Yi Qinghan's true combat strength. If they truly fought, it was unknown who would emerge victorious. As a rogue cultivator, Zhao Wuji had always been a lone ranger. He had no friends at all. At this moment, no one was willing to help. At this moment, the situation was very awkward. The three of them were fighting against nearly 20 experts, and 4 of them were ranked in the top 10. This was an unequal fight. Yi Qinghan was arrogant and showed no signs of fear. He said to Qin Shi in a low voice, "You fuse the martial techniques first. I will buy you some time." The Qin emperor nodded seriously and replied, "Be careful, master. Be careful. We'll fight one by one and take turns to rest. If you can't hold on, don't force yourself. With your cultivation level, no one has the right to laugh at you." Zhao Wuji reminded in a deep voice. "Don't worry, I will make them pay the price today. I will use blood to tell them that no one can trample on my people." Yi Qinghan's voice was deep and hoarse. He walked directly to the center of the training field with the blood thorn in his hand. His black hair flew behind him and his battle robe fluttered in the wind. His bleak figure made people feel stubbornness and arrogance. His back seemed to be telling the vicissitudes of life, making people's hearts tremble. Lu Ning squinted her eyes and looked at Yi Qinghan's back. Her heart trembled. She took a step back and said in a low voice, "Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. His back is too similar. But he has already died in battle. Yi Qinghan, how long are you going to torture me? Why is there a man who looks so much like you here? Your temperament, aura, and your unruly character, your disdainful eyes, your vicissitudes of life, they appear in my mind all the time. Do you still remember the king naming competition 5 years ago? Ever since I saw you for the first time, I knew that no one would be able to shake my heart in this life. But the weather is unpredictable. You have offended 3 big shots of Owl Dragon region, hundreds of great revered martial artists. I have the will but not the power." Lu Ning's eyes were filled with a layer of mist. Looking at Yi Qinghan's back, she no longer despised him. Instead, there was a different kind of emotion. No one cared about the change in Lu Ning's mood. They were all shocked by Yi Qinghan's back. The tyranny and indifference that came from his back made people gasp in admiration. Is this person really at the 1 star of the Bitter Sea stage? Why do I feel like I'm looking at an old monster that has lived for thousands of years? The spectators asked in surprise. I also have this feeling. Looking at his back, I feel like I can see the existence of the Tao. What is going on? The crowd did not understand, and Lu Ning did not understand even more. Being shaken by Yi Qinghan's back, she was dizzy and almost fell down. The difference between Lu Ning and Yi Qinghan in their previous life was very large. They could only silently admire each other. In this life, they did not know each other. But if she recognized him, Yi Qinghan would absolutely not let her go. He would not hesitate to kill her, even if he had to use all his resources to kill her. Yi Qinghan stood in the center, pointing his sword at Tang Chu. He said in a cold voice, "Send someone to die. Today, I will kill Xiao Yu and the others until they admit their mistakes. Otherwise, you will be buried with them for their mistakes." Crazy. Arrogant. Cold. Heartless. Now Yi Qinghan could only be described with such adjectives. An existence of 1 star of the Bitter Sea stage had declared war against more than 10 existences of 7 stars of the Bitter Sea stage and above. Moreover, he spoke such arrogant words that people did not dare to mock him. Tang Chu's face changed slightly, and then he disdained. Such an existence was not worthy of him to take action. Xian Wuyu was also too lazy to take action. He just wanted Yi Qinghan to die. It did not matter who killed him. The most important thing was that they had to guard against Zhao Wuji going crazy. Tai Tianlong, you go and kill this reckless guy. Tang Chu said coldly to an expert of 6 stars of the Bitter Sea stage behind him. Tai Tianlong was 2 meters tall and weighed 200 kilograms. He was a man of iron and was as strong as a black bear. He was absolutely the most powerful existence in the body refining school. At this moment, looking at Yi Qinghan, his eyes were full of disdain. Don't worry, such a rookie, I can crush him to death with one hand. Tai Tianlong was incomparably arrogant. Carrying a sledgehammer that weighed 500 kilograms, he stepped into the center of the martial arts practice field. The slate on the ground was shaking. Boom, 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 Tai Tianlong moved forward like a mountain cannon. Every step he took made people panic. He deserved to be ranked in the top 30 on the Owl Fall star. With his body alone, once he got close to the 9 stars of the Bitter Sea, he could crush him to death. Yi Qinghan's pupils flashed coldly, and he let Tai Tianlong come closer. Zhao Wuji was shocked, but he could not warn him. After all, this was a fair fight to the death. Tai Tianlong's body was unparalleled. Within 10 meters, he could attack. Even Zhao Wuji would not allow him to come closer. Otherwise, even if he won, both of them would suffer. The two were 30 meters apart. Yi Qinghan still did not launch an attack. Instead, he held the bloody thorn calmly and waited for him to come. This guy is too arrogant. He dares to let Tai Tianlong come close to him like this. He's dead. As long as Tai Tianlong comes closer by 10 meters, even if his martial arts are incredible, he can't reverse the situation. No one was optimistic about Yi Qinghan. They all opened their eyes and waited for Tai Tianlong to tear Yi Qinghan apart. Boom, 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 Tai Tianlong ran wildly like a giant tiger, rolling up the airflow and roaring the wind. He was very powerful. 15 meters. Tai Tianlong swung the sledgehammer. Like a meteor catching up with the moon, his body moved forward 7 or 8 meters in an instant. He rushed to the front of Yi Qinghan in the twinkling of an eye. The sledgehammer rubbed against Yi Qinghan's head with flames coming out. Ah, the crowd screamed. Even a 4th-class ferocious beast would die on the spot under this hammer. Yi Qinghan's weak body was likely to be smashed into meat paste. Whoosh, boom, a figure cut across the martial arts practice field. Then, the mountain-like sledgehammer hit the martial arts practice field and shook it. The underground formation burst out, emitting colorful light, and blocked the devastating attack of the sledgehammer. Tai Tianlong stared blankly for a moment before realizing that Yi Qinghan was nowhere to be seen. Alarmed, he swung the hammer behind him. Humph! A cold snort spread all over the martial arts practice field. The gloomy blood thorn, like thunder and lightning, was unstoppable and directly penetrated Tai Tianlong's right waist. Tai Tianlong screamed. His waist shrank to the left subconsciously. His right leg was on the ground and he lost his center of gravity. Yi Qinghan smiled coldly. He lifted his foot and kicked the outside of Tai Tianlong's right knee. With a crisp crack, Tai Tianlong's bucket-thick thigh broke and he fell to the ground directly. Ah! Although Tai Tianlong screamed and roared after falling to the ground, he didn't completely give up his defense. He swung the sledgehammer toward Yi Qinghan. Swish, Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and retreated more than 10 meters. He looked at Tai Tianlong coldly and waited for him to stand up with the corners of his mouth raised. It was too fast. It only took them a blink of an eye from the beginning to the end of the fight. Lu Ning's eyes were like torches. She saw that the cultivation method Yi Qinghan used was the ethereal fairy commonly used by big families in the endless universe. But only big families could afford it. After all, it was a secret skill of the top third rank. It was comparable to the existence of the fourth rank. Stand up and kill him. Tang Chu roared. But Tai Tianlong felt that his right leg was no longer his own. The sharp pain made his divine awareness disordered and sleepy. Now he could only force himself to stay awake. He held the sledgehammer in one hand and supported the ground with the other, moving backward constantly. Yi Qinghan looked at Tai Tianlong indifferently and didn't kill him. If he had wanted to kill him just now, he would have had the chance. But now he was just stalling for time to give Emperor Qin more time to integrate the soul-absorbing roar. Stand up. I'm not interested in killing a man lying on the ground, Yi Qinghan said coldly. Tai Tianlong gritted his teeth. The bloody hole in his waist kept spurting blood. His leg bones were twisted. He might not even be able to stand up, let alone fighting capacity. Seeing the killing intent in Yi Qinghan's eyes, Tai Tianlong was a little frightened and said hurriedly, I admit defeat. But this was a fight to the death. It was useless to beg for mercy, because Yi Qinghan already had the intention to kill him. What was more, if Yi Qinghan was pale, he might have died already. Admit defeat? This is a fight to the death. From the moment you came on the stage, you should know that death has come. Yi Qinghan held the bloody thorn and stepped on Tai Tianlong. Yi Qinghan, you're too arrogant. Tai Tianlong has admitted defeat. What else do you want? Tang Chu scolded coldly. This is called arrogance. Then I'll show you what real arrogance is. Yi Qinghan asked in reply. He held the sword and stabbed at Tai Tianlong. Tai Tianlong was wrapped by the virtual shadow and couldn't be distinguished from the real one. He had nowhere to hide. Chapter 78. The martial arts arena was dead silent, without the slightest sound. Thousands of people were staring at the center of the battlefield. Wang Shizhi and Ling Chen, the two great kings, were standing on the side, ready to fight at any time. No one could intervene in this battle. The martial arts arena was dyed red. After Tai Tianlong's last blow, he directly threw the iron hammer at Yi Qinghan. Unfortunately, Yi Qinghan's figure flashed, evading it. Yi Qinghan seemed to be disorderly with his sword, but in fact he was using the sword as a blade. The 12 moves of the blade technique were like moving clouds and flowing water, leaving nearly 100 scars on Tai Tianlong's body. Tai Tianlong was almost dismembered, his arm was cut off, and his pupils shot out a look of horror, despair and resentment before he died. The iron hammer was thrown more than 10 meters away, looking extremely brutal. The crowd had never seen such a way of killing. Yi Qinghan almost used the most torturous means, leaving more than 100 scars on Tai Tianlong's body, draining his blood. Until the last moment, Tai Tianlong exploded and died on the spot, tasting the pain and despair of the human world. Swooshed, Yi Qinghan kicked away Tai Tianlong's body, majestically, extremely arrogantly, pointing his sword at Tang Chu, he said in a cold voice, do you see? This is called fighting to the death. This was called provocation. With the power of one person, he provoked the heroes of Owl Fall Star. So what if it was Tang Chu? So what if it was Yu Wuyu? He looked down on him with his sword. All the people at the lower level of the Bitter Sea stage felt their blood boiling. This was called truly invincible among the same level. One star of the Bitter Sea stage had crushed Tai Tianlong at close range. But no one applauded, no one dared to sweep away the face of Yu Wuyu and Tang Chu on such an occasion, but no one criticized Yi Qinghan's cruelty. After all, in a battle to the death, whoever falls down must die. To seek revenge for the smallest grievance, to be cruel and ruthless to the enemy, to protect friends and family to the extreme, this was Yi Qinghan's nature. He never thought of himself as a benevolent person. As long as it was an enemy, he would kill. Every move must see blood. Good. Good. Yi Qinghan, you have successfully angered me. Today, I'll let you understand what it means to fight to the death. Tang Chu's face was livid, and the anger in his eyes almost condensed into a solid form. He shouted to a young man who looked like a skinny monkey behind him, Sun Ke, you go. He's just a bit faster than you, but I don't believe he can be faster than your invincible limbo. Top grade third grade martial technique, unique step on the waves. When one reached the 5th star of the Bitter Sea stage and above, one could walk on the waves. It was a famous speed-type secret technique on the Owlfall star, a secret technique unique to the Sun family. In terms of speed, other than Ling Chen, no one else was qualified. Haha, you want to compete with me in speed? I'll torture you to death today. Sun Ke had a sly smile on his face as he leveled the sky with his sword. His sword aura was like a rainbow as it transformed into lightning and thunder. His afterimages were everywhere on the martial arts field. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the afterimages were so fast that it was impossible to distinguish the real body. After a long time, the afterimages dissipated. The onlookers were terrified and worried for Yi Qinghan. The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth curled upwards. He was not affected by the afterimages. His eyes were closed, and his divine sense was locked onto Sun Quebec. No matter how he changed his position, he could not escape from his divine sense. His right hand trembled, and the blood thorn changed hands. He was now holding the sword in his left hand. The veins on his right hand were bulging, and his true yuan was flowing. The specks of silver light were captivating. What is he doing? Why is he holding the sword with his left hand? Is he left-handed? I don't know what he's doing, but I know that Sun Ke is playing with Yi Qinghan. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan would have died long ago. Ha ha ha, you're right. This kind of rookie does not have an advantage in speed. How can he fight with an existence above the 6th star of the Bitter Sea stage? Sun Ke's laughter resounded throughout the martial arts field, but no one could tell where Sun Ke was. Zhao Wuji clenched the sword in his hand, his fingertips moving the sword hilt, producing a crisp sword hum. Evidently, he had decided to act when Yi Qinghan was in the most danger, even if it meant offending Ling Chen. Lu Ning slowly stood up and came to the front. The crowd immediately made way for her. Sun Ke's speed was extremely fast. He circled behind Yi Qinghan and stabbed his sword. The sword chi pierced through Yi Qinghan's clothes and immediately retreated. Then he laughed again, ha ha ha, do you want to see Yi Qinghan running naked? Yes. Everyone in the Tang Chu camp said in unison. They could not wait to go up and humiliate Yi Qinghan. Then I'll fulfill your wish. I'll send his clothes flying with my sword, and let him die in despair and shame. Sun Ke was rampant. He had a 4th grade yuan recovery pill in his mouth, and was not afraid of exhausting his true yuan. Yi Qinghan looked at Sun Ke's arrogance and could not help but sneer. Since he wanted to run naked, then he would let him die an even more ugly death. The Qin Emperor hugged his zither, his weak body trembling slightly. He respectfully asked Zhao Wuji, Senior Zhao, can my master win? I don't know. His speed is indeed fast, but this Sun Ke's speed is even faster than mine. He is the fastest existence in the Bitter Sea stage. Unless your master still has some hidden trump cards, the chances of him losing are very high. Zhao Wuji shook his head, not optimistic about Yi Qinghan. Sun Ke sent out another sword attack, but it still did not pierce through Yi Qinghan's defense. It only sent a piece of his clothes flying, causing the crowd to laugh and laugh. Yi Qinghan did not move at all. His divine sense was constantly tracking Sun Ke's movements, preparing to kill him in one blow, leaving him no room to fight back. Ling Chen glanced over and saw Lu Ning beside him. He asked, "Who do you think will die, fellow Lu?" "Yi Qinghan." Lu Ning replied without hesitation. Why do you say that?" "Until now, Yi Qinghan should still have some hidden trump cards." Ling Chen asked curiously. If he had some hidden trump cards, why would he go through so much trouble? He has clearly given up. Lu Ning said disdainfully. "Nonsense. My master will not lose." Qin Shi Huang hugged his zither tightly and stared angrily at Lu Ning. The birthmark on his palm started to heat up. The faint golden light was covered by his long robe, not revealing his special constitution. "Stinky brat, if not for your pure heart, would I even like you? What right does this kind of trash have to be your master?" Lu Ning clenched her teeth and scolded him in disappointment. "Shut up. You are not allowed to scold my master." Qin Shi Huang's aura turned cold as he said fiercely. Qin Shi Huang's youthful and pure face was extremely pitiful. He did not look like a person who could be ruthless. Now, even if he was ruthless, he gave off a demonic aura. Ignorant. Lu Ning was flustered and exasperated, but there was nothing she could do. She loved and hated Qin Shi Huang's bad temper. In the center of the martial arts arena, Sun Ke once again burst out with a terrifying speed. He was about to stab out for the third time. Lu Ning's finger trembled and a silver scale whip appeared in her hand. She lifted her leg and was about to shoot it into the center of the martial arts arena. "What are you doing?" Ling Chen's figure flashed and the broken dragon blade sliced through the air, blocking Lu Ning. Sun Ke can humiliate Yi Qinghan's body, but he cannot humiliate his name. "I am going to kill Yi Qinghan and end him completely." Lu Ning replied coldly. "Ling Chen, get out of the way. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. No, this is an internal matter of the Owl Falling Star meeting of heroes. You cannot interfere. Other than today, I will not interfere with anything you do." Ling Chen refused decisively. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect Lu Ning to also want to kill Yi Qinghan. They could not help but sympathize with her. Just as everyone was in a daze, Sun Ke stabbed out with his sword. The tip of the sword contained a dense true energy sword qi. He was about to tear apart Yi Qinghan's clothes and make him run naked. "Break!" Sun Ke shouted as he became one with his sword. His unique rippling steps were displayed to the extreme. Countless figures rushed towards Yi Qinghan from all directions. Yi Qinghan also moved at this moment. His fist was covered in silver. He suddenly twisted his body and attacked towards the left. One could even clearly see the light red flame on his fist. Boom! Sun Ke's eyes were filled with fear. It was as if he was going to drill under Yi Qinghan's fist. The two of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they collided. There was no time to dodge, and his sword missed. Hua! Yi Qinghan's qi hit Sun Ke's body and tore his clothes to shreds. Not even his underwear was left. Puchi, downward strike. He raised the sword in his left hand and directly cut off Sun Ke's right arm. Then, his right fist turned into a palm. Using the inch strike technique, he once again exploded with power. Sun Ke was pushed back dozens of steps and fell into the crowd. Sun Ke was lying naked in the middle of the crowd. His right arm had been cut off by Yi Qinghan from his shoulder. Blood poured out like a fountain, and his Dao heart was shattered. He danced around wildly as he ran through the crowd. His expression was ferocious, he had gone mad. "Ah, this is impossible. Ha ha ha. I won. Did you see?" Everyone retreated and made a path. Sun Ke ran to the center of the martial arts arena. He was naked for everyone to see. Lu Ning and the other female cultivators were furious. They quickly turned around. This ending was somewhat different from what everyone had expected. There was indeed someone running naked. However, it was not Yi Qinghan. It was Sun Quebec. Not only was he running naked, he was also crazy. Hiss, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and turned to look at the running Sun Quebec. There were some doubts in their eyes. They were all attracted by Lu Ning and Ling Chen's attacks. They did not see how Yi Qinghan attacked. What's going on? This is impossible. Tang Chu was furious. He turned to look at Xian Wuyu and Qin Haoran. Obviously, he was also distracted. I didn't see. Xian Wuyu was speechless. He thought that Lu Ning and Ling Chen would have a conflict, so he diverted his attention. He did not expect that he would miss the most important part. I didn't see it either. Qin Haoran's eyes were filled with killing intent and hatred. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be able to survive this. For a moment, there was no other sound in the martial arts arena except for Sun Kei's screaming and running. Everyone looked at each other. They wanted to know how Yi Qinghan had beaten Sun Kei to such a state. Master will win. Qin Haoran could not see that Sun Kei's clothes were torn, but he knew that Sun Kei's soul was in chaos. He was completely crazy. He could not help but be overjoyed. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He did not show any joy. It was as if he had defeated an ant. He did not know how many people's Dao heart had been shattered. Tang Chu, Qin Haoran, you sent these trash to die. Why don't you come and fight with me personally? Yi Qinghan stared at Qin Haoran. He was ready to pave the way for Qin Haoran and kill this incompetent brother of his. He said coldly, Qin Haoran, didn't you say that I only know how to sneak attack? Now fight with me openly. I will give you a chance to take revenge. Qin Haoran's breathing stagnated. He really didn't have the guts to fight with Yi Qinghan right now. He muttered a few words and then hesitated. However, he didn't have a reason to refuse. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead. Chapter 79. Yi Qinghan was crazy to the extreme, killing 2 strong enemies in a row, and finally directly declaring war on the top 10 elites. Qin Haoran did not dare to accept the challenge, which made everyone stunned and speechless. Qin Haoran was an 8-star bitter sea expert, while Yi Qinghan was only a 1-star bitter sea expert. Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Haoran's performance, and could not help but sneer, what? You don't dare. If you don't dare, you and Tang Chu can come together, and I will take it together. This is called arrogance. 1 star of the bitter sea actually challenged 2 of the top 10 experts at the same time, and in front of so many people. Unless Tang Chu and Qin Haoran were really shameless, how could they join hands to deal with Yi Qinghan? Looking for death. Lu Ning snorted contemptuously, as if she could see the scene of Yi Qinghan being slaughtered. Tang Chu and Qin Haoran's faces were ashen, looking at the crowd pointing at them, extremely angry. Tang Chu coldly glanced at Qin Haoran, and found that even though he had lost face, he was still unwilling to go on stage. Tang Chu could not help but snort, Brother Qin, he has already challenged you, do you really want to fight with me before you dare to fight? Qin Haoran's expression changed. Looking at the mocking and amused expressions of the crowd, he could not help but change his aura. A 3rd-grade spiritual sword appeared in his hand, and he said disdainfully, I was just recuperating. A 1-star bitter sea rookie dares to declare war on me, simply courting death. Yi Qinghan coldly looked at Qin Haoran. This kind of trash who had not overcome his heart demon, even if he could break into the Grotto Heaven realm, he would not be able to advance any further, so he did not care at all. If he was facing an 8-star bitter sea expert, Yi Qinghan would definitely not be so strong. Qin Haoran, I heard that your Haoran sword technique has reached perfection, to the point of becoming one with the sword. Show it to me. Yi Qinghan was disdainful. The Haran sword technique required a pure heart, and only the pure Haran chi could display the Haran sword technique to the extreme. With Qin Haran's stingy mentality, it would be good if he could display half of its power. As you wish. Qin Haran was furious. No one had ever looked down on him like this since he started cultivating. Today, he had actually been mocked by Yi Qinghan, a child with an extremely low cultivation level. How could he not be angry? Whoosh, the 36 forms of the Haran sword art. Qin Haran's silhouette was faintly discernible. His sword moves emitted a vast sword chi that was as natural as flowing water. He was as ethereal as an immortal, causing the crowd to cheer. Unfortunately, in Yi Qinghan's eyes, such a sword move had too many flaws. There was no need to waste time. Open! Yi Qinghan roared, the blood thorn chopped out like a knife, and instantly hit Qin Haran's Haran sword. A third-grade martial artist against a third-grade martial artist, the aftermath spread out in all directions. An ear-piercing sound pierced through everyone's eardrums. Even an emperor like Lu Ning frowned, not to mention the others. They covered their ears and retreated, frowning. Bang! With a crisp sound, the blood thorn in Yi Qinghan's hand broke. The tip of the sword shot into the void and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Qin Haran was after all an 8th star of the bitter sea. His third-grade Haran sword was wrapped in vital essence. As he clashed with Yi Qinghan, his advantage was obvious. Seeing the blood thorn in Yi Qinghan's hand break, he could not help but sneer. Die! Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The Haran sword chi was cold and sharp, drawing out 3 sword flowers. Like a black hole, they rolled towards Yi Qinghan. The center of the 3 sword flowers suddenly shot out a sword chi, aiming for his throat. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches. His figure flickered, dodging the sharpest sword chi. Throwing away the broken blood thorn, his palms slapped towards the Haran sword from both sides. Break for me! Yi Qinghan's veins popped out, his body erupting with a terrifying power. His body leaned back, directly sticking close to Qin Haran's body. His palms came together, clamping down on the Haran sword. His palms crossed, suddenly exerting force. His vital essence poured out, rushing into the Haran sword through the gap in the sword. Bang! With another ear-piercing sound of a short sword, the Haran sword broke, shocking everyone speechless. Yi Qinghan had broken a third-grade Haran sword with his body alone. Although there was a gap in the Haran sword, it was still incredible. Qin Haran's pupils shrank. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be able to predict his movement trajectory. All of this was completely beyond his imagination. Yi Qinghan did not care whether Qin Haran was stunned or not. He took the broken Haran sword and stabbed it into Qin Haran's right arm. Ah! Qin Haran screamed in pain, the sword hilt in his hand falling to the ground. Bang! Yi Qinghan swung his fist and punched Qin Haran's face. Qin Haran's originally handsome face was instantly bruised and several of his teeth were knocked out. Pa pa pa, after a few consecutive slaps, Qin Haran was completely stunned. Yi Qinghan did not intend to let Qin Haran go. His speed was extremely fast. High whip, knee, left hook, right elbow, each attack penetrated into Qin Haran's flesh. The fierce Shen Yuan and steel-like fists pierced Qin Haran's soul. Qin Haran had no chance to resist. He could only inject Shen Yuan into his arms to protect his head. He wanted to protect the fatal places and wait for an opportunity to counterattack. Kneel down for me. Yi Qinghan's vigorous body erupted with a power that could destroy everything. His hind leg kicked towards Qin Haran's leg. With a cracking sound, Qin Haran's body staggered and almost fell down. However, Yi Qinghan's second attack had already arrived. Bang! His iron arm turned into a heavy wild blade, with the momentum of 1,000 caddies, fiercely chopped towards Qin Haran's head. Qin Haran was shocked. He was powerless to escape. He could only take a step back and raise his right arm to hit Yi Qinghan's iron arm. Gotcha! Ah! Bang! Even though Qin Haren's arm was wrapped in Jin Yuan, it was still instantly crushed by Yi Qinghan's attack. The bones in his arm were immediately broken. A mournful scream resounded through the void, causing people to tremble. However, this was not the end. Yi Qinghan's iron arm was like a hot knife through butter. After breaking Qin Haren's arm, there was still more than half of its strength. It smashed towards Qin Haren's neck, causing Qin Haren's legs to be unable to support themselves. He could only kneel down to reduce the force. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan's attack would have broken his neck. Bang! Qin Haren, who was strong as one of the top 10 experts, knelt on the ground after 3 moves. His arms were broken and his knees were shattered. Only his left arm could still move. Yi Qinghan was majestic. He had transformed into the Eternal War Emperor. His black hair and battle robes fluttered in the wind. The entire martial arts arena was completely silent. Even if I didn't launch a sneak attack, what can you do to me? Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Haren kneeling in front of him and asked coldly. Mr. Yi. Haren is wrong. Please spare my life for the sake of my younger brother. Qin Haren knelt on the ground and begged in horror. How could the dignified chief disciple of the Qin clan die in battle like this? His good days were yet to come. Now was the time to lose some people and save his life. Yi Qinghan looked down at Qin Haren. His eyes were full of disdain when he saw Qin Haren begging for mercy. My son, I am your brother. Quickly, beg Mr. Yi. Qin Haren felt that Yi Qinghan's killing intent had not dissipated. Instead, it had become even stronger. He quickly begged for mercy from the Qin Emperor. The martial arts arena was dead silent. No one mocked Qin Haren. It was an honor to be defeated by Yi Qinghan. Moreover, Qin Haren had blocked a few moves. Wu Xian and Tang Chu's pupils shrank. They finally understood that Yi Qinghan had the right to be arrogant. It was reasonable for Qin Haren to beg for mercy. After all, he was related to the Qin Emperor. Yi Qinghan would have to think twice before killing him. The Qin Emperor pursed his lips. His moon-like eyes did not waver at all. He took a step forward and stepped onto the martial arts arena. My son, I know I was wrong. But I was really thinking for the Qin clan. After today, I will make it up to you. As soon as Qin Haren saw Qin Shihuang come out, he begged for mercy again. He knew Qin Shihuang well. Qin Shihuang had a weak temperament and lacked a sense of security. He would repay anyone who treated him well with all his heart. Therefore, he could definitely persuade Qin Shihuang by using the right remedy. Yi Qinghan saw that Qin Haren was still lying to the Qin Emperor. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He leaned to one side and said to the Qin Emperor, My son, kill him. Yi Qinghan was ruthless enough. Not only did he want to kill Qin Haren, but he also wanted the Qin Emperor to do it himself. He had trained him to be decisive and ruthless. Qin Haren almost collapsed when he heard this. He knew that he could not persuade Yi Qinghan. He had to continue begging the Qin Emperor. The Qin Emperor hesitated for a moment. He was not stupid. He knew that Qin Haren was only asking for a temporary solution. When he had the chance, he would kill him and Yi Qinghan without hesitation. Therefore, the Qin Emperor lifted his slender fingers and pressed them on the zither. My son, do you really have the heart to kill me? Have you thought about our parents' feelings? They will hate you to death. Qin Haren's eyes flashed with a hint of hatred, but he quickly concealed it. The Qin Emperor's small hands trembled. He bowed to Yi Qinghan and begged, Teacher, please forgive him this time. I don't want my parents to be sad. The Qin Emperor's gentle and kind personality made him compromise again. Even though he had never received any love or care from his parents, he still wanted to express his goodwill to them. He hoped that they would change their view of him. Even a blind person had the right to receive their parents' love. Yi Qinghan saw the Qin Emperor's soft heart and begged him. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Zither immortal crimson demon physique. He was ostracized just because he was blind. He couldn't tolerate such a clan. You should know that he will not let you go if he has the chance. Yi Qinghan warned him coldly. It's okay. I have a clear conscience. But killing my brother and incurring the hatred of my parents is not my intention. Moreover, I will have the protection of my teacher in the future. I am not afraid. The Qin Emperor gritted his teeth. Although he was sad, many people could feel the happiness and dependence in his heart when he mentioned the name of his teacher. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly. He didn't want to make things difficult for the Qin Emperor. He poured out the vital essence from his palm and grabbed the broken sword on the ground. He then said to Qin Haoran, "Do you see this? Trash. Without a benevolent heart, how can you practice the Haoran sword art well? You look weak, but you can't even withstand a single blow. A person like you is not suitable for cultivation. I will spare your life, but I will destroy your sea of qi and let you enjoy the good fortune of being the young master of the Qin clan." "No. You can't destroy my sea of qi." Qin Haoran was frightened. He slapped his butt on the ground and screamed in despair. "Humph." Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. He infused the broken sword with vital essence and stabbed it at Qin Haoran's sea of qi. Qin Haoran was in despair. He didn't have the strength to dodge. Moreover, Yi Qinghan's speed was too fast. However, no one expected that at the most critical moment, a horrifying power suppressed the entire martial arts arena. The cold power rushed toward Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated. He pulled back his hand and pulled the Qin Emperor to the edge of the martial arts arena. His eyes flickered. A figure flashed in his eyes and landed beside Qin Haoran. Chapter 80. The energy outside the arena was fierce and powerful. Yi Qinghan's breathing stagnated, and he pulled back his hand. He pulled the Qin Emperor and dashed to the edge of the arena. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and a figure appeared beside Qin Haoran. Qin Ing. Yi Qinghan looked at Qin clan's patriarch coldly and clenched his fist. "Mr. Yi, Haoran should be punished for his mistake. However, destroying his qi si is too serious. I believe that he has learned his lesson and will change for the better. Furthermore, I will punish him again. Please be merciful." Qin Ing said indifferently. Qin Haoran saw Qin Ing appear and immediately shouted, "Grandfather, save me. I am an elite of Qin clan. I don't want my qi si to be destroyed." "Shut up. Idiot. My painstaking efforts to nurture you are actually so useless." Qin Ing scolded coldly. Qin Haoran immediately lowered his head and did not speak. The hatred in his eyes became even more intense. At this moment, not only did he hate Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi, he also hated Qin Ing. Yi Qinghan coldly glanced at Qin Haoran. How could Qin Haoran's soul escape his eyes? However, since Qin Ing made a move, there was nothing much to say. He would let him off for the time being. "Greetings to Senior Qin. Senior, this is an internal matter of the meeting of heroes. It's not good for you to interfere, right?" Ling Chen cupped his fist and asked in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "I did not interfere. I only asked Mr. Yi for a favor. Whether Mr. Yi is willing to listen or not is up to him." Qin Ing was extremely shameless. He was lying through his teeth. He had already made a move and now he said that he did not interfere. This made Ling Chen speechless. "Mr. Yi, can you give me some face? As long as you let this unfilial son go, I will discipline him strictly when I return." Qin Ying's aura rose as he said in a deep voice. At this moment, the one being humiliated was Qin Shi. However, Qin Ying did not even look at Qin Shi. He did not even say a word for him. Instead, he pressured Ling Chen to protect Qin Haoran. A strange smile hung on the corner of Yi Qinghan's mouth. He couldn't help but wonder if Qin Ying really valued Qin Shi. It was strange that Qin Ying would let Qin Shi inherit the majority of the Qin clan's assets. Fine, take him away. I hope you won't regret it in the future. Yi Qinghan replied coldly. Thank you, Mr. Yi. After Qin Ying finished speaking, he grabbed Qin Haoran and flew out of the martial arts practice field. From the beginning to the end, he didn't ask about the matter of the Qin Emperor being humiliated. The Qin Emperor felt sad. In the end, the Qin clan did not have a place for him to stay. Perhaps only Qin Ying and himself knew the real reason. Yi Qinghan was very puzzled. Logically speaking, Qin Ying should have asked about Qin Shi matter. Unfortunately, he didn't, not even a single word. It didn't seem like he loved Qin Shi very much, so he placed most of the inheritance rights on him. Instead, he had other plans. Why is it like this? Yi Qinghan frowned and stared at Qin Shi carefully. He seemed to have understood something. The reason was Qin Shi. The atmosphere in the martial arts practice field was somewhat strange. Those who were clamoring to kill Yi Qinghan had all shut their mouths. Even Qin Haoran, who was ranked 10th, had been defeated. What was the point of others coming up? They would all be courting death. Everyone looked at Tang Chu, Xian Wuyu, and Di Kong. Now that Yi Qinghan was still on the field, only the three of them could take action. Di Kong and Yi Qinghan did not have any substantial conflict. Obviously, he wouldn't risk his life for Tang Chu. When Yi Qinghan was heavily injured, he might come out to take advantage of the situation. Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu looked at each other and discussed through voice transmission. Brother Xian, I will pay 1,000 mid-grade spirit crystals. You have the true spirit Dao wings. Killing him from the sky shouldn't be a problem, right? Tang Chu asked. Then what about Zhao Wuji? Are you confident? Can you escape from his hands? Xian Wuyu asked in a deep voice. Haha, Brother Xian, as long as we kill Yi Qinghan, will Zhao Wuji risk his life for a dead person? Tang Chu sneered. That's true. As long as Zhao Wuji is not stupid, once Yi Qinghan dies and then kills Qin Shi, this matter will be left unsettled. Xian Wuyu coldly glanced at Yi Qinghan. His true spirit Dao wings spread open, and the crimson-red wings covered the sky with a majestic aura. Yi Qinghan, your footsteps end here. I will take you away. Xian Wuyu soared into the sky. His entire body was scarlet red, as if half the sky was burning. One could fly, while the other could only run underground. They were not on the same level at all. Damn, this works too. Since Xian Wuyu obtained the 5th grade true spirit Dao wings, other than the two great kings, Zhao Wuji can't win, right? You can only blame Yi Qinghan for being unlucky. Who asked him to provoke Tang Chu and the others? He even provoked them so arrogantly. I will find it strange if he doesn't die today. Everyone was discussing. No one sympathized with Yi Qinghan, and some even mocked him. Zhao Wuji's face darkened. He couldn't help but say coldly, Xian Wuyu, aren't you being too much of a bully? Why don't you take out a 5th grade combat weapon? Ha, weapons and martial skills are the embodiment of combat power. If you have the ability, go get a true spirit Dao wing too. I will not say no. Xian Wuyu laughed wildly. That's right. Weapons, martial skills, and luck were all embodiments of a cultivator's combat power. No one could say anything about it. Brother Yi, you have the right to choose to rest for a while. Leave Xian Wuyu to me. Zhao Wuji unsheathed his sword. His whole body was like a peerless sword, and his sword energy soared into the sky. No need, I will do it myself. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like the eyes of a dragon as he looked at Xian Wuyu in the sky. He was thinking about how to lure Xian Wuyu down. Don't force yourself. It's okay to retreat at this time. Zhao Wuji frowned. Facing the current Xian Wuyu, he didn't have the confidence to win. However, Yi Qinghan was bound to lose. Thanks, but I will deal with my own problems. It's just a 5th grade true spirit Dao Wing. I don't care about it, Yi Qinghan muttered. He stretched out his hand and said indifferently, Brother Zhao, let me borrow your sword. Zhao Wuji's sword was only a 3rd grade spiritual sword, and an ordinary one at that. He didn't come from a powerful family, and he didn't have a strong background. It was already good enough for him to get a 3rd grade spiritual sword by himself. Zhao Wuji didn't hesitate and threw the sword out. Yi Qinghan's wrist sank as he caught the spiritual sword. He found that the sword was made of ordinary material and might not be able to hurt Xian Wuyu. In the end, he could only return it to him. Yi Qinghan, can we start? I won't take advantage of you. I will start when you say so. But where is that stupid bird of yours? Let it come out. I will roast it alive. Xian Wuyu said coldly. What the fuck? You idiot, did I get in your way by hiding here and watching the show? Isn't this just lying down? The parrot had blended into the crowd at some point. When it heard Xian Wuyu scolding it, it jumped out and hooted. Pfft. Ha ha ha, this bird is so funny. It's so fat. It will taste good when roasted. The people in the Tang Chu camp laughed. Roast your sister. This divine bird is unique in the world. A bunch of ignorant children. Today, this divine bird will punish you on behalf of the moon. The parrot jumped more than 10 meters and ran directly to Yi Qinghan's shoulder with a flattering face. Yi Qinghan didn't scold it. He looked coldly at the parrot. This stupid bird jumped out at this time most likely because it was scolded by Xian Wuyu and couldn't help but run out. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come out to take the risk. Master, you have worked hard. Leave this birdman to me. I will take him down and you can wait to collect his corpse. The parrot promised solemnly to curry favor with Yi Qinghan. Are you sure? Yi Qinghan was curious. If he wasn't sure he could win, how could this parrot, who bullied the weak and feared the strong, win? Of course, I will definitely make him fall head first into the ground. The parrot secretly said. The parrot's sudden appearance attracted mockery and ridicule from the crowd. However, the parrot was thick-skinned. When people praised it, it immediately accepted it, but when people said it was fat, it pretended not to hear. When Xian Wuyu saw the parrot appear, he was furious. His murderous intent burst out, and the 4th grade spirit sword in his hand emitted a monstrous sword aura. Whoosh, the parrot flew into the sky, turning into a bolt of lightning. It flew across the ground and deliberately provoked Xian Wuyu. Idiot, I can fly. Come and chase me. After saying this, the parrot rose vertically. Its speed was so fast that its fat body couldn't affect its speed at all. Fuck. You stupid bird, I will definitely kill you today. Xian Wuyu rushed up and chased the parrot. One man and one bird, without any curve, both rose vertically. Whoosh, Xian Wuyu and the parrot were so fast that the crowd couldn't follow them. In the blink of an eye, they had reached a height of 1,000 meters. The parrot and Xian Wuyu were getting closer and closer. Xian Wuyu sneered. He took out a medium-grade spirit crystal and inserted it into his true spirit Dao wings. His speed increased, and he closed the distance again. Oh fuck. I surrender. I absolutely surrender. Little Xian, don't be so serious. Xian Wuyu wouldn't believe this stupid bird. He pulled out his sword and slashed at the parrot. His sword aura pierced through the clouds, incomparably sharp. Whoosh, the parrot retracted its butt and shot up like a rocket. It screamed and screamed exaggeratedly. Today, even if you scream yourself hoarse, no one will come to save you. Xian Wuyu laughed wildly. He closed the distance again. He put away his sword and reached out to grab the parrot, ready to roast it alive. At a height of 2,000 meters, a strong wind blew, and the cold air was oppressive. Xian Wuyu and the parrot were only 20 meters apart. The parrot's eyes flashed, and it suddenly dove down, crashing into Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu didn't expect the parrot to charge down. He laughed, and his true essence poured out from his hand, turning into a giant hand that covered the sky. Whoosh, when the parrot was less than 2 meters away from Xian Wuyu, it opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of fire. The fire instantly engulfed Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu's eyes were burned, and his beautiful black hair was burned away. Ah, Xian Wuyu screamed. He hurriedly covered his eyes with his hands, but his eyes felt like they were being pricked by needles. His divine sense was in chaos, and he couldn't control his true spirit Tao wings. He fell to the ground. Woo woo woo, the strong wind blew, but the fire didn't weaken. Instead, it grew bigger, completely engulfing Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu screamed more and more miserably. His body twitched, and his hands scratched at his body. He wanted to put out the fire, but the more anxious he was, the more he couldn't control his true spirit Tao wings. The speed of his descent was faster than the speed of his ascent. Caw caw caw, you idiot. I said you were stupid, but you didn't believe me. This divine bird can breathe fire. I told you last time, but you still dared to come so close. Aren't you looking to die? The parrot had a smug look on its face as it chased after Xian Wuyu. In the blink of an eye, it had reached a height of a few hundred meters. Xian Wuyu was driven mad. If he could control his body, he would definitely cut the parrot in half. But now, he could only dance around, trying to put out the fire. It was a miserable sight. Chapter 81. A meteor streaked across the sky, shocking everyone. Xian Wuyu's exaggerated scream made them realize that the parrot had tricked Xian Wuyu. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. He was speechless as he watched the parrot chase after Xian Wuyu, spitting fire. He didn't know how the parrot had managed to turn around and trap Xian Wuyu like this. Xian Wuyu's falling speed was increasing. Seeing that he was about to hit the ground, Tang Chu's face darkened. He obviously couldn't allow Xian Wuyu to be tricked to death by the parrot. He took out a grade 3 iron crossbow from his yin and yang ring, knocking an arrow. He aimed at the void, but not at the parrot. Even Ling Chen couldn't stop him. Whoosh, tracking arrow. Tang Chu almost snapped the grade 3 iron crossbow. A black iron arrow roared out, drawing a 90-degree arc in the void as it suddenly shot towards the parrot. Aya! Fuck, you bitch! The parrot's pure white feathers stood on end as it desperately fled into the distance. Tang Chu shrugged and said indifferently, sorry, I missed. Zero Dawn looked coldly at Tang Chu and didn't say anything. Then, he looked at Leisure, who was falling rapidly from the void. When he was 50 meters from the ground, he just barely used his true spirit Tao wings. His falling speed was still not under control. 40 meters. 30 meters, Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches. He formed a seal with his palms, which turned into a swimming dragon. His steps were extremely strange. 8th Division Heavenly Dragon Palm. Whoosh! Roar, Yi Qinghan's true essence poured out, turning into a heavenly dragon. It rushed into the clouds and blasted towards Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu's hair stood on end. He was still trying to control his true spirit Tao wings. There was no way he could block Yi Qinghan's attack. Ah! Rise for me! Xian Wuyu roared crazily. His wings beat the sky, rolling up tens of thousands of waves of air. He tried to control his body to stop falling, but Yi Qinghan's body was like an arrow. He actually flew up for a short period of time. No, he didn't fly. Yi Qinghan relied on his physical strength to jump 20 to 30 meters high. His true essence was just enough to attack Xian Wuyu. Roar, the true essence pouring out of Yi Qinghan's body transformed into a heavenly dragon that roared at the sky. It instantly left Yi Qinghan's palm and swept towards Xian Wuyu. Fear and despair filled Xian Wuyu's eyes. It was too late. There was no time to dodge. He hurriedly took out a treasure from the bottom of his chest. It was a high-grade spirit crystal. Boom, break for me. Yi Qinghan launched an attack before he was exhausted. He controlled the true essence dragon and shot out a palm attack. The true Yuan dragon was indestructible, and it instantly pierced through Xian Wuyu's body. A sharp true Yuan shot into Xian Wuyu's Qi and exploded. Ah! Yi Qinghan! How dare you destroy my Qi? When I reappear, I will exterminate your entire family. Xian Wuyu let out a blood-curdling scream as he shot a venomous glance at Yi Qinghan from the corner of his eyes. Then, he inserted the high-grade spirit crystal into his true spirit Dao wings. The true spirit Dao wings emitted a monstrous pressure. With the support of the high-grade spirit crystal, the true spirit Dao wings actually tore open the void on their own and disappeared without a trace with Xian Wuyu. Although Yi Qinghan's quintessential essence hadn't been exhausted after launching that attack, he couldn't exert any more force to kill Xian Wuyu. He could only watch as Xian Wuyu disappeared and fell down. Boom, Yi Qinghan fell from 20 to 30 meters in the air. With a loud bang, Yi Qinghan's feet landed on the ground, shaking the stone floor. He rolled a few times on the ground to dissipate 80% of the impact. Only then did he manage to stabilize himself. Tang Chu's face was ashen. He did not expect to be defeated by a lowly bird. Now that Yi Qinghan did not have the strength to fight, even if he and Di Kong joined hands, they would at most be able to injure Zhao Wuji. Obviously, Tang Chu would not fight to the death with Zhao Wuji. He turned his head and signaled to Xiao Yu and the others. He secretly transmitted his voice, Xiao Yu, act according to the plan and kill Qin Shi Huang. There were no longer any sounds of mockery towards Yi Qinghan on the training grounds. Their eyes were wide open, looking at Yi Qinghan as if they were looking at a demon. To be able to leap 30 meters high in a single bound, and also be able to unleash such a powerful attack, there was probably only Yi Qinghan alone. Everyone looked at the indifferent Yi Qinghan. He took out 2 mid-grade spirit crystals, one in each hand, and crushed them. He forcibly absorbed the majestic spirit qi, causing his arms to turn silver-white. Only Yi Qinghan dared to absorb spirit qi in such a crazy way. No one in the bitter sea stage had a full qi sea. 990 miles. 1 or 2 mid-grade spirit crystals could not burst the qi sea, and Yi Qinghan's body was unparalleled. Even if the spirit qi was violent, it could not destroy his body. Zhao Wuji stepped into the center of the martial arts arena and stood at the side. He looked at Tang Chu indifferently and said, Tang Chu, are you going to ask your women to apologize, or are you going to fight to the death with me? Apologize? Ridiculous, it is clearly Qin Shi Huang's fault, why should we apologize? Tang Chu sneered and continued, Zhao Wuji, Di Kong and I have a way to injure you and even perish together. But as an outsider, I feel that there is no meaning in fighting like this. Why don't we let the people involved deal with it personally? The winner lives, the loser dies, how about it? Tang Chu was not willing to fight to the death with Zhao Wuji. He chose the safest way, which was to use a group of bitter sea stage female cultivators to deal with a child of the blood ignition stage. Zhao Wuji looked at Tang Chu with disdain. He swept his eyes over Xiao Yu and the others, and found that most of them were at the 2 stars to 3 stars of the bitter sea stage. Xiao Yu was in existence at the 4 stars of the Bitter Sea stage. Letting Qin Shi Huang fight with them was completely sending him to his death. You think this is fair? Using a group of Bitter Sea stage adults to fight with a child of the Blood Ignition stage, and taking turns to fight, are you playing with me? Zhao Wuji questioned. This question made everyone on the martial arts arena fall silent for a while, and then burst into discussion. Isn't this too shameless? Is there no one from the Qin family who will stand up for Qin Shi Huang? He is just a blind person, who would offend so many families for a blind person. Xiao Yu looked at Qin Shi Huang with disdain, her eyes full of killing intent. Since Tang Chu had promised her that as long as she killed Qin Shi Huang, she could obtain everything she wanted, why not? We will suppress our cultivation. Qin Shi Huang is at the peak of the Blood Ignition stage, then we will suppress our cultivation to the peak of the Blood Ignition stage. If we suppress our cultivation and he still cannot win, then wouldn't it confirm the fact that he attacked us? Xiao Yu said confidently. That's right, if Qin Shi Huang does not admit that he attacked us sneakily, then Xiao Yu and the others would be beaten so badly. This means that Xiao Yu does not need to suppress her cultivation and he should win. Now that Xiao Yu has suppressed her cultivation, if he cannot win, then it is clear who was right and who was wrong. Tang Chu said in a low voice. Hearing this, everyone felt that it made sense. There is no need to suppress your cultivation, let's all attack together. I will use my actions to prove that I am not wrong. Qin Shi Huang stepped into the center of the martial arts arena, the birthmark on his palm glowing with a faint golden light, which was covered by his wide battle robe. The master was arrogant, but the disciple was even more arrogant. A blind person, at the same time, declared war on more than 10 female cultivators of the Bitter Sea stage. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, looking at the young Qin Shi Huang's firm tone, they could not help but be curious. Yi Qinghan had created a miracle, could Qin Shi Huang do the same? Since Qin Shi Huang has declared war on all of you at the same time, then there is no need to be polite. Attack together, let the 2 kings and the crown prince of Lulan see who was wrong today. Tang Chu did not give Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan a chance to back out, and quickly replied. Zhao Wuji's breath stagnated. Looking at Qin Shi Huang's clear eyes, he did not have the slightest bit of fear, he only wanted to prove his determination. Looking at Yi Qinghan, he also did not have much worry. He could not help but have a strong interest in this pair of master and disciple. Yi Qinghan's eyes were tightly shut, his whole body emitting a strong spiritual energy. His qi and blood seemed to be boiling, and his entire person became incomparably majestic. His body was 7 feet tall, and shrouded in purple light, and his long hair fluttered without wind. His weathered body was bursting with an indescribable history, as if he had experienced thousands or even tens of thousands of years. Lu Ning's gaze became gentle, but she still stared at Yi Qinghan's back. She clenched her fists, and her eyes were a little blurred, as if she had returned to the Battle of Kings 5 years ago. That man who looked down on all living things was the Supreme Battle King who was specially invited, and he was not stingy with his guidance, and she had also benefited from him. He was unparalleled and overbearing. He was only 300 years old, but he was invincible among the supreme martial artists of the same realm. He was the glory of the Xiaolong region, attracting the admiration of countless female cultivators and the respect of all heroes. Is it him? This is impossible. Apart from the similar qi and back, none of the techniques are his. What about crazy 7 feet? What about the extreme divine dragon steps? Azure dragon techniques. I did not use any of them. Lu Ning took a deep breath, and recalled the records of her family history. She did not find any records of the resurrection of the dead, nor did she find any methods of reincarnation. She thought to herself, I have to confirm if it is him later. If it is, what should I do? After all, the elders of the Lu family committed an unforgivable crime in the past. On the martial arts stage, Yi Qinghan was still desperately absorbing spiritual energy. His arms were almost bright, and his sleeves were torn. His barbaric and overbearing aura suppressed all the heroes, and they did not dare to move. He is breaking through. Someone shouted, and everyone saw Yi Qinghan's true yuan suddenly burst out, rushing to his limbs and bones. He mobilized his vigorous qi and blood to crush the bottleneck. Boom boom boom, everyone could clearly hear the scene of 10,000 horses running wildly inside Yi Qinghan's body, and the roaring sound was soul-stirring. His skin looked tender and soft, but it was actually tempered into a steel divine weapon by the true yuan. His robe was torn by the wind, and his long hair flew behind. He opened his eyes, and they turned into lightning that suppressed all living things. He suddenly looked at Tang Chu, and Tang Chu's courage was torn apart. She took a few steps back, and her face was pale, as if she was facing a supreme existence. You. Tang Chu's heart beat faster. She looked at Yi Qinghan's emotionless but soul-stirring eyes, and she did not dare to look directly at him. What's wrong with me? I can continue to fight. Tang Chu, do you dare to come up? Yi Qinghan stared at Tang Chu with a threatening gaze, and asked coldly. Humph, I do not take advantage of others. You fought 3 times in a row, and I won without honor. Let's prove who is right and who is wrong for the time being. Tang Chu's breath stagnated, and he rejected Yi Qinghan's challenge. He turned to Xiao Yu and the others and said, if you are wrong, I will not let others deal with you. I will personally deal with you. If you win against Qin Shi Huang, I will not allow anyone to bully you. Tang Chu's words showed his superior wisdom. He could attack or retreat. If Xiao Yu and the others won, it would mean that Qin Shi Huang had launched a sneak attack. If he lost, he could directly kill Xiao Yu, and also show goodwill to Yi Qinghan. Even if Yi Qinghan's battle prowess was monstrous, he would have no reason to deal with him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.